Hi there, folks.
Howdy, howdy.
Welcome to another Saturday night.
Back on the regular schedule because the last month or two has been crazy. Every weekend for weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
Multiple guests.
Yeah.
It's good to be back to something normal for once.
Yes,
Yeah.
actually moving things around here, there, and everywhere. Since I know we have some new folks in the chat there, I can see your names. My name is Baron Engel. The gentleman over here is Cared1. He is the co-host and tech wizard for this whole operation.
Yep, he draws. I hit computers with hammers.
Yes.
Big hammers. So, yeah, I see some folks that are brand new here, so
Yes.
we'd like to say hi. Let's see, going down the list here, Egonaut, are you new? I think we've seen you before,
Yeah.
but if not.
Of course, Strato Draw.
Strato Draw, Kibbery, I think we've seen before. Oh, we lost him. We had Nim99.
Yeah, you had 99. We also Toonvox
Right.
has wandered away.
So anyway, for folks who are new, welcome. For folks who are, say, veterans, welcome back. All right. So for the veterans know that the most important thing that happens on this show, the very first thing, brain lubricant. Because this gentleman's brain works best when it has just a little bit of lubricant.
Or otherwise it makes grindy, creaky sounds.
Right. And by that we mean cocktail of the week. This week we're going to do the Tequila Sour. It's similar to the whiskey sour. Basically tequila, lemon juice, sugar, and optionally, and we're going to do it, an egg white to sort of froth it up.
It makes it a little bit less sharp. It helps even out the flavor. It gives it a nice taste to it. A lot of bartenders don't like doing it because there is the possible risk, because you're using raw egg,
Yep.
of potential bacterial.
Oof.
Yes, magic trick.
Indeed. So actually,
Yes, mouthfeel.
Yeah, exactly. So the first lesson you're going to learn is I'm a jerk. So I'm going to get a little bit of ice here. Got a new refrigerator. It makes very nice ice. It's filtered and everything's okay. All right. So now the fun part: getting the egg white without getting the egg yolk. Let's see if we can.
Now, usually, kids, we recommend doing this over a sink.
But we are bold. So let's see here.
Now, I'm pretty certain Brian can find a use for an egg yolk.
I'm just gonna.
Sometimes I watch this thing just for Cared1's shirt.
And there's blue. There we go. So the yolk is not on me.
You've already got enough yellow on you anyways.
Indeed. All right, let's see here. So what we start off with is, where is there?
You're absolutely right, Pinky.
There we go. So we start off with the tequila. Don't worry, it's almost out, but don't worry, we've got a whole other bottle. Milagro is actually a, there we go. It's actually a good brand of inexpensive tequila. It's about $20, $25 a bottle. It's not equal to Patron Silver, but then again, it doesn't cost $80 a bottle.
Yes.
All right, we got the right here. Not pouring it down my front. So 2 shots of white tequila or reposado tequila, aged tequila. Gold tequila and reposado tequila are not the same thing. Gold tequila is young tequila that has food coloring in it. We're looking at you, Jose Cuervo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of a sucky thing to do to your customers.
Oil Cuervo is stuff that they give the tourists.
Jose Cuervo is your penance for getting drunk on other things.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, it was the thing that convinced me I didn't like tequila for the longest time until I got a chance to try it.
That wasn't tequila, it was an abomination.
Yeah.
This is simple syrup. Basically, you can make this yourself. It's 1 cup water, boil it, throw in a cup of sugar, let it cool. And makes a very easy way to add sugar. Again, 1 shot. And then depending on how lemony you like your stuff, 1 to 2 shots of lemon. How lemony are you feeling today, sir?
Something balanced would be nice.
1.5.
Yes, that'd be very good.
1 ounce, 1.5 ounces. There
Very,
we go.
very handy.
I pre-squeezed it. Let's see here. I think I saw a lemon pit in there. Let's try that again without the pit.
That'd be the pits.
Yeah, I squeezed it there, which means that it is a biological product. You will sometimes a lemon pit will
organic material
will be small enough to it got in there anyway. Okay, you're going to have a little cellulose in your.
No, I can deal with it. I'm a big boy. Watch it. In my last streams, I choked to death on camera.
There you go. Let me see if I can do this. Oh, nope, it's in there.
It's a. Don't worry about it.
It is. All right, and let's see, where's the other half of my... There it is.
Yes, Boston Shaker, very useful tool if you're making cocktails.
Yeah, and I'm going to hold this over my head so that doesn't get too much. With the egg white, you want to shake the heck out of it, because that's what gives you your froth.
The emulsion.
See, and this is me commenting on political discourse. Yeah, he just said a thing. Yeah, I've heard it before. Yeah. All right. Take the glass, hold the glass.
I hold it over here since it's poured in my lap.
Yeah, he has worn it once or twice. There you go. There we go. Good. If I did this right, it should just about fill it. Now, with egg whites drinks, they will expand a little bit because they're getting aerated. There's two things yet to do. This is Angostura bitters. It's just a little bit of what amounts to spice for cocktails.
Well, okay, I'm not allowed to choke to death. My wife just told me. By the way, folks, everybody behave themselves. My wife is watching.
In other words, tempt Baron to do things that will get him in trouble. One more thing. What are you trying to do? Because you gotta have a twist. Lemon rind. What you want is the oils in the skin.
And you try to give it a good twist, and you actually little on the surface.
Yep, and you get just this tiny little bit. It gives that last little kick of lemon aroma, and then you go, wheat. And then you say, Baron's brain is lubricated. And then you don't see the little mess I made.
That's pretty good. Yeah, well done. I'll tip you.
I'm already tipped over here. All right.
Okay, now before we go any further, I think we should probably just state the front.
Just as a little side thing, there was an argument that happened between two other parties who occasionally come into the channel. If you have outside arguments, please don't bring them into the channel. Don't involve Baron. It ain't cool. So yeah, if you leave your arguments at the door because we have a bouncer. Yeah, and so you're tasty and crunchy with ketchup.
Yes, as the old bumper sticker used to say.
You got it. All right, so that done. Baron has been very busy over the past 2 weeks. We have 18 pieces of art to get through to show in. For new folks, we show what Baron did over the past 2 weeks, and then we have 4 hours of drawing. I don't know how you do it. We will take a break every hour, by the way, so that you can stretch, he can stretch, and go be biological. But
yeah, get buried 5 minutes. Oh, by the way, folks, I'm going to embarrass my wife right now by making an announcement. My wife, Smudge, is going to be starting up her own Picardo channel. I've been talking with Caradwin here today on what we need to change things around so that we can stream from our place, and I will be sitting in the hot seat, basically being the kind of MC and everything like that.
There you go.
It'll be all digital. You're just going to be looking at our Cintiq, but
not to worry.
We'll make announcements when that finally goes live.
All right. Yeah. And saying Smudge is a graduate of Cal Arts. She is a highly trained animator. Does comic books. She was a classmate of Lauren Faust. A couple of you may have heard of her. She's done a lot of work on video games. Smudge is her own kind of awesome. Yeah, that and she can bench press a truck.
Used to.
Yeah. Okay, Volkswagen now. Okay. Yeah. The very first time that Smudge and Baron met was because Baron had bogarted her seat, not intentionally at a convention, and she said my seat and picked him up and dumped him out of the chair.
Right.
And that's when the little hearts appeared in Baron's eyes.
Right.
What a woman.
The general rule is right now what we're trying to work up is that she will stream on alternate weeks that I'm not streaming. We're still, this is still a little bit up in the air, so we'll keep you up to date on the details, but we're going to be probably doing it on Friday nights.
All righty.
And it'll probably be like a couple hours.
Okay.
All right, so on art, I've embarrassed my wife enough.
Yay!
She'll have words when I get home.
Yeah.
All right, on to art.
Well, I'll give you some words right now. Okay, so first thing let's clear that, and let's say art. Wheat. All right, so what's going on here?
Well, this is my Equestria Dreamscape. For folks who maybe knew and haven't maybe followed me on DeviantArt, I'm a lucid dreamer, and my dreams are such that I can remember where I was in the last dream and then kind of continue it on as a story. And well, Apple Bloom's been helping this little cult by the name of Stone Main down Baltimore, and he has been very, very much assisted by her help in the dream realm, helping him with his nightmares. And he sent her a letter and said, hey, I'm going to be traveling to Trottingham, and have a layover in Ponyville. Switch up on trains. The next train's not till the next day. And boy, I sure would like to say hi to you face to face.
And of course, Big Sister got a hold of this and decided, you have a boyfriend.
Well, yeah, basically Sweetie Belle did, because
and can't keep. Of course, Sweetie Belle can't keep her yap shut.
That's right, and of course, Stone Main is arriving in Ponyville basically on the start of Founders Day, which is kind of a nice big.
Yeah, and this is Stone Main and Apple Bloom in the dream realm, and Apple Bloom getting the letter.
Right. It's going, oh my gosh, because she was talking to her two friends, Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo, and saying, oh yeah, and Scootaloo saying, yeah, boy, it's really amazing. You've been helping teach me how to fly in the dream realm. Boy, I wish you could teach me how to do that for real. And she's going, well, I can only do it in my sleep. And then Sweetie Belle saying, yeah, it's really great. You can make all these amazing things that simply appear out of thin air. And Apple Bloom's going, yeah, but I can only do it in my sleep. And then she starts thinking, wait a minute, the only thing Stone Main knows is me in the dream realm where I can do this amazing stuff. And what if he meets me face to face and then isn't very impressed? And you're at that age when anxiety can really...
Everything is the end of the world.
Exactly.
Now, which of course is interesting given that Apple Bloom in your dream arc is one of the guardians of the dream realm, where she encounters little things like this.
No, you have to understand, this is a few years down the road, actually. This is actually a veteran.
Yes, she does not dress like this when she is still young.
Yeah, well, she's still only about 14 at this point. But, she's still, as a few years down the road, she's gotten a lot more worldly and knowledgeable. We're now in season 4, whereas this whole thing about her getting the letter is 3/4 of the way through season 2. So yeah, she's got a little bit more, a little bit more confidence.
Right. Now you do have some alternative things going on, not just from the main story, but again your Deep Six arc there, and which among other things has.
This wasn't Deep Six.
Oh, that wasn't.
No, this wasn't. This was from one night. Once again, in my lucid dreams, I'll quite often show up in a place that's called the staging area. You've seen the movies, The Matrix. The whole training area where guns. We need lots of guns. And the only person that ever shows up there besides me is Patina, one of my muses.
We will introduce Patina in a moment because there's a picture right here.
Yes, there is. And so one night I showed up in the staging area to head off in the dream realm, and Patina was watching this movie on a monitor. And it was this kind of, invasion from another realm type thing, and this portal had opened up in another place, and well, goodness gracious, everybody was basically suddenly sucked into this war to try and stop this invasion from taking over Equestria. And one of the people who ended up being in a character is Coco Pomal, which was kind of surprising. I mean, she joined the local reserves militia to basically just be self-defense, but they found out they put her behind a rifle, and suddenly she was really, really good.
Yep.
And she was very calm.
And folks are asking, what's that rig that's attached to the scope and to the into the muzzle there? That is to detect and impart enchantments. To detect the things that she's shooting at, and to make the bullets affect them.
Right. One of the things they discovered was
basically technomancy.
Yeah. The ponies and the griffins and even the dragons, to a certain extent, started using what they call destabilized mage crystals, which would detonate on impact and could quite often punch through the wards that a lot of the creatures from the Realm of Shadows were using. And they started running into cases of some of the critters, they'd shoot at them and it just didn't do anything. At first they thought they had bad crystals. Then they realized that the critters were basically modulating their wards real time. So Twilight came up with a system where if you could passively observe a creature's admissions effectively, take a look at that, and then be able to turn around and code a spell out real time. The problem is it's very hard on the crystal in the projectile, and it only lasts about 15 seconds before it detonates after that. So you had to do it on the fly, and so that's why they put that device on the end of the muzzle.
Indeed. Yeah, we're getting back to Apple Bloom here. This is her in her sneaky suit.
Yeah, this is her infiltration suit. It's actually more than just a sneaky suit. I'm not going to give away too much because that'd be a spoiler, but once again, a very recent acquisition, not at the same timeline as the whole thing with the letter and Stone Main coming to town. And it's really kind of a good thing that she's got a big sister to help her with that, too.
Yeah, because that's what her big sister is there for.
Right. When, your little sister starts just freaking out over the world and everything, sometimes it's good to have, kind of an anchor in your life.
Indeed. Okay, and what's the story here?
Once again, this is part of the current ongoing Equestria Dreamscape arc, and this is Marble Vein. We've seen her several times before. She is a unicorn mare who is doing some very interesting research, and
she does very lifelike sculpture.
Yes, she does, and she's thanking Brilliant Flower, who is one of the people who helps her with her research and everything. And they have finished a project, and they are basically wrapping things up. And Brilliant Flowers has been paid for her services and everything. And now Marble Vein's going to head off to Hoofington.
All right. Now, getting into more. This came from the comic, if I remember right.
Yes, it did. For folks who read the IDW MLP comic, you may remember the Mirror Mirror.
In which case they should have goatees, but they don't.
Yes, Dream Arc. And this was something that Sura asked me to do as a birthday present for somebody. And it is Luna and Celestia as they appeared in the Mirror Mirror universe. And one of the things I didn't realize reading the comic, but it definitely popped up when I started doing the drawings and really studying them, is that their outfits look like something out of an Ed Wood movie.
So does the hairdo.
Yes.
Yeah, again, the very 50s, early 60s science fiction, where the shoulders have Saturn rings on them and things like that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so basically modernized Buck Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see what we got here. Let's take a look at some of the stuff you do as studies. This is a character named Nightfall.
Yes, this is one of Luna's court. Of course, Apple Bloom does occasionally, not every night, but like on Fridays and Saturdays, she'll quite often go up to Canterlot and be part of Luna's night court. But Luna has basically her full staff of characters. And Nightfall is a bat pony who is now part of her entourage. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of becoming like one of Luna's mares in waiting, like Celestia has.
Again, you got to have that parity.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so more studies. Pony sharpshooters at a Schützenfest.
Effectively, yes. These were, I'm going to come up as part of the actual Dream Arc in the relatively near future. And firearms aren't really super common in Equestria, but they're not unheard of. And just like in any society, if you've got people who can perform a task, you're going to have someone who's going to say, I can do it better than you can.
Anything no, you can't. You can do, I can do.
No, I can do it better. No, I'll put you.
I can do anything better than you.
I'll bet you 5 bits I can do it better. And
no, you can't. Yes, I can.
Shooting matches.
Yep, that's actually Sean. That's actually a period scope.
Yep.
From the late 1800s.
Yeah, it's kind of like what they call a Malcolm-style scope. If you see movies like not High Plains Drifter, Josie Whale Outlaw. At one point, Clint Eastwood actually uses one on a Sharps rifle.
So here's another study. This is silk acrobatics. 2 long streams of silk, and then you do these slow motion dances, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Suspended above the stage. I think it's a Chinese art.
Yeah, it's called aerial silk.
Yeah,
and it has to be silk, to my understanding.
To get the
properties.
Right, to get the strength, as well as because you're sliding up and down. Has to be both slick and grippy and strong.
Very strong. And
otherwise, you fall down and go splat.
And it's one of those things where they make it look so easy, and it requires amazing amounts of strength, balance, coordination,
and
flexibility.
And strength in muscles you didn't know you had.
Flexibility, and you cannot be afraid of heights.
I know.
And this character is doing all these stretches. Another one of Luna's Night Court. Her name is Silk Cords. And I'll be doing some more finished sketches of her hopefully next week.
Alrighty. And now we have another. This is a commission, if I remember right.
No. This is another one of Luna's Night Court.
I thought this was somebody's character.
Nope.
Well, it's your character.
Yeah.
There you go.
Her name is Straight Lace. Can't imagine where she got that name from. And she is also part of Luna's Night Court and part of her kind of security detail, along with Nightfall, and Silk Cords is part of that. And then there's also Midnight Oil, which I haven't drawn yet.
All right. So now you also do some work in anthropomorphic stuff. This one actually made Equestria Daily one of their article headers.
Yeah, it was one of their nightly discussions. I believe it was Thursday night.
Yep.
And yeah, that's Scoodaloo. This is from actually the same dream universe as the picture of Coco Palmel. Scoodaloo, basically the CMC, were a band called Flying Fingers, with Flying Fingers being Scoodaloo's stage name, and they were also secret covert operatives for Celestia.
Well, of course. Again, teenagers going around in a band solving mysteries. I mean,
Yeah.
who knew?
Yeah, and I'm basically, if you want to learn how to draw hands,
Guitar.
draw musicians.
Yes.
People playing violins, playing the piano, playing the drums. You do the most amazing things with your hands to play instruments. So it's a great way to learn how to.
Here's another musical one.
Now that is a Patreon reward for, I don't believe Jarrell is in the chat at the moment.
Not yet, yeah.
But he asked me to do another combo piece with a grown-up Anthro Sweetie Belle, basically once again from that same type of universe, with his OC, which is named Amber, who's a pony dragon hybrid. And he's playing electric cello, and she's playing electric bass guitar.
That's very similar to the one that Tina Guo uses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tina Guo, by the way, is a famous cellist, does very avant-garde performances, did the cello work in the soundtrack to Game of Thrones, and was the cellist behind Octavia in episode 100.
Yes.
Right, so, so she got to be a pony.
No, they don't have a mystery machine, but they do have vehicles they travel around in.
Yeah, we're going to save that one for last.
Uh-huh.
We spoke earlier of patina.
Mm-hmm.
That's patina.
That's patina. Well, that's one of the many forms that patina takes, and this was another Patreon reward for Tebow, who is in the chat. I saw.
Hi, Tebow.
Yep. And he wanted basically a pirate patina.
Yarr.
So I wanted
swab me poop deckins, shiver me mizzen master. He gets no
and
booty.
in this form, she's only an 8.5-inch tall mouse character. So I wanted to kind of make that point obvious by having her stand in basically a pile of coins.
Big coins.
That's right.
All righty. So we got 2 more to go. We'll save that one for last, but this one is a little bit of color work you did. That's digital color work.
That's digital color work. Yes, I am actually continuing to work in digital. And this was for, don't see him in the chat, for Ryan Paz, also Sylvan. He goes by Sylvan on the chat here. And he's been asking me to do some basically crossover colors. Like, okay, it's Nightmare Night. I want a costume. I know. Go as one of your friends.
Yeah, so that's actually rarity. Take a look at the eye color.
Yeah.
Yeah, the eye color is the giveaway. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have one more to go here. And in this one, you guys... it's not going to be like just a vote. Just tell us which one is best.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3.
So here we are.
Here we are, yeah.
And this is technically from the same universe as Flying Fingers and Coco Palmel. But one day I was just sitting around listening with my headphones on, laying in bed, and ZZ Top's Tush came up.
Tush.
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 And I suddenly had this image of them all basically doing a cover of this.
Little girls all grown up.
Yep. And at the very end of it, during the last part of the instrumental, where it's all just big guitar riff at the end, there's this little scene of them all dancing in string bikinis, back view.
There you go. She got legs and she knowing how to use them.
Yep. Now, just so folks know, next Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, these 3 pieces, along with the Coco Palmel piece and some other new artwork, or artwork that is not yet up on the Smudge Marks and Engelworks eShop, will be going up for sale. So,
are you going to put them up as a group or individually, or have you decided yet?
I'm going to probably do them as individual.
Yeah.
For it.
Outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to go back over to here.
Yep.
Okay, this is not a work of art. Yeah, so let's see. Let's do this right.
And we should probably do our hourly duty. Get that out of the way.
We should. Now, we actually have a sponsor, and that would be University Art. Barron's former employer for 20 years. University Art is a high-end art supply store that has branches in Redwood City, California, and Sacramento, and San Jose. The San Jose store is where Barron used to work. They have...
For almost 20 years.
Almost 20 years, yes. They have high-end art supplies, art instruction, workshops, and one of the best framing shops anywhere. They do museum-quality framing. You know, your artwork will still be pristine, 100 years from now. Acid-free this, and, sealed that. Again, it's just an awesome place. Their employees are artists themselves. We've actually borrowed a couple of them to have them as guests on the show. The count is 2, but we'll see if we can get more.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So we want to thank University Art for keeping Barron well supplied with supplies. And again, they occasionally peek their noses in. So, hi, Mike. Hi,
Hey,
Jeff.
Jeff.
Everybody say hi to Mike and Jeff. We actually had Jeff on the show a few weeks back. He is one of the experts on Egyptian tomb painting techniques. He did an Anubis for us, right straight out of the Book of the Dead, with period materials. No brushes. You took the reed and you chewed it into a little, mushy thing in the end, and the whole it was fascinating. So and Jeff's great. We want to have him back.
And Lego, thank you for a reminder. Yes, but when I start going to drawing, I will switch to my art glasses. But because I'm looking at this monitor, it's too far away. I can't use. They'll make the switch.
You guys get to nag him if he doesn't change his glasses when he starts drawing. Speaking of starting drawing, what you going to do tonight?
Well, we're going to do a variety of things. One of the things I want to do is, if you've been following me on DA or on Twitter, I've been posting stuff about, kind of how to, how to draw this, how to do that. And tonight I was going to basically kind of go in a little more detail about that, because even with putting in multiple examples of stuff, there's quite often a case you have to leave a lot of things out of the steps. So I'm going to go through and give a little bit more of a detailed explanation on some of the drawing techniques. Now, when I usually draw, I don't lay this stuff out because I've done it long enough now that I can just see it in my head. But I'm going to put it down a bit more on paper so you guys can get a better idea of what the mental process is that's going through. So why don't we switch over to here?
Alrighty, drawing cam, 3, 2, 1, go, bang.
Alrighty. Bring over a board.
Alrighty.
And change glasses. Ha ha.
Yep. And I'm going to take a moment to mess with colors because the stupid camera settings do not get preserved from session to session.
Oh.
That and Barron was doing, or Jeff rather, was doing color work last time we used his camera, if I remember right.
I think you're. Oh, I think that's. Well, I thought we used this one downstairs. Oh, well, never mind.
That's right. Yeah, it was disconnected, so it's it
lost its brain.
All right, so let's see. Let's go down to the main drawing camera.
Hello, horse.
Horse. All right, let's see. It's got
Okay.
here. Yep. Don't you can get doing what you're doing, and
all right.
We will lock the focus. Still there. We will change the color balance.
I'm going to shift this down just a tiny bit here, a little bit closer, so I don't have to bend over the table. Make the tools work for you, not.
There we go. That actually looks pretty good there.
All right then. Okay, so. And I'm just going to take a really quick thing here. One of the things that can be a trick sometimes is, well, what's my ground plane that someone is? So I'm just going to take a ruler here and just go, there. Oh, you keep your hooves, I have like a character like this on your paper. All right. So one of the things that really helps when you're drawing is having an idea what you're doing. Now, I'm going to do some very, very light lines here at first. Now, this will get darkened up in a bit. But you don't want to start too dark, because if you have to go and erase anything, it's a lot harder if you've really leaned in onto your working surface. So one of the most important things you need to get is an idea of how long are your limbs? And your limbs have different joints to them, so it's always a good idea to know where everything's going. And you might have a case where you'll draw something and go, okay, and then you look at the picture, well, why is this leg longer than that leg? Well, a little trick you can do, you always see artists doing this kind of thing. Well, we're measuring. We're not just doing that because it's
affectation.
Yes. But you can also do another trick where you can just take like your fingers and go, okay, that to that. So I got that. That. Okay, this leg's a little bit too long here, so I want to shorten that up some. And then from here to here. Yep, sitting that down. And of course, my hoof is actually down here. So I'm doing kind of a teenage foal here. And the other thing you need to have some ideas, okay, where's the rib cage on this critter? It's kind of in this area here. Got our pelvis in this area here. Okay.
Bloody Rainbow, welcome. This week it was the Tequila Sour.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a whiskey sour, except it's made with tequila. You know? And it looks like it's going down in volume fairly quickly, so offhand I'd say Baron likes it.
Yeah, it's working quite well, and a good thirst quencher, too.
Exactly. Well, see, Baron has a little bit of a scratchy, throat, so so we need a little bit of lemon to soothe it.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of alcohol to kill the bugs.
Yeah, and it's too warm to go for hot toddies yet. Now, next thing I'm doing here is I'm kind of blocking in where the basic masses of, tissue are going to be on this critter. So I've got,
the meat.
The meat. Yeah, the meat.
This is the brisket, and this is the chuck.
Right. And one of the things to remember, like with the neck, the spine, is that it isn't at the back here, it's in the middle.
Yeah.
Now, on a candy-colored pony, now, if this was a real horse, the spine actually much be closer to this side than this side here.
See you later, Augie. Yeah, and Horse actually has a question. This is before you got this good, did you use construction lines and stick figure skeletons, etc.?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. And even when I'm working, just quick, I'll do the construction lines. I'll do the stick skeleton. I'll do the joints and everything because it is really, really quite helpful. It's supposed to be a full. Make the ears a little bit shorter. They're not quite as pointy and developed. And for when you start working on the head, okay, I want to make sure I have my eyes going in the right direction, so I end up with an eye here and an eye down here. So we drew a line right there. And this kind of tells me this kind of splits. This is the middle. And then if you really want to split further, you can do a line across the top like this. And it kind of tells you, okay, this is round. And since we're doing a little filly here, I'm going to give a very, very small muzzle. And once again, I can do that. If I need to, I can go out and do a line around like that. That once again tells me, use as many lines as you need to get the job done. That's what matters. The only thing is make sure you do all your construction lines light enough that you can easily erase them. Or if you're working in digital, do it on a separate layer so you can throw that layer away after you're done.
I'm going to briefly show that pony head construction art that you did.
Mm-hmm. Did we show that during the art?
Yeah, we missed it.
We missed it? Oh, well, bring that up then.
There we go. Yeah, again, it may be a little bit hard to read all of this. You go see it on Baron's DeviantArt, but the stuff that Baron's doing, if you're looking for proportions and angles and cheats and shortcuts, like what are the angles of the ears naturally, where did the eye go? This is in Baron's DeviantArt. It's one of his most recent pieces. So go and look it up there.
I will be eventually creating a gallery just called Tutorials. And of course, that's for doing things in my art style from a Dreamscape. It's not for show style, but you could adapt it to show style. The important thing is it's helping you create reproducible results.
Exactly. Consistency, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. But again, go to Baron's DeviantArt to see that. He's got that and a few others. It's great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, perfect. Catspaw's got it because Catspaw's just that good.
Yeah. See, guys, this is one of the things that really makes this stream click and fly. Is that oh yeah, Baron's great. Yeah, well, Baron's great because Baron can just sit here and yak his head off, while Catspaw runs around and finds URLs for me, and Kieran here can go and work on keeping the tech and managing the chat and everything. So I can just focus on drawing and exercising my jaw.
Yeah, and I play keyboards. No,
yes.
That's the 101 key, not 88. Yeah, so actually,
A little bit of tunes might not be bad.
Well, we will tune it. Yeah, well, I'm piping all of the synthesizers here through through the mixing board here. So if you folks could let me know if the music is so loud that it becomes distracting, or you can't hear Baron's art tips over it or something like that, let us know.
We'll adjust it. The whole point here is for you to have an enjoyable evening.
Exactly, and we show you what goes on behind the behind the green curtain. No,
Yep.
actually, here we go. Let's see, there's some keyboards, and there's my favorite device in the whole wide world right now, the Stream Deck. Makes streaming much easier. And let's see, there's the encoder.
Now,
There's you guys. There's you guys right there.
Yep. Now, one of the things, too, about ponies is that their tails actually aren't very long. They only go back about right here. And then the rest of that's all just hair hanging down. In most cases, for real horses and real ponies, it just kind of drapes. But if you are a candy-colored magical pony, you can do all kinds of crazy things with your...
Yeah. Or as Yaki Doodle asked, Yaki... was that,
Cranky Doodle.
Cranky Doodle asked Celestia, how does your mane do that?
All right.
Let's take a quick peek at what the hell is this? Back to a certain actor. That's got to be Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. More brain duplicate.
Do I detect that Baron build perspective into his stick figure?
Mm-hmm.
In diddly doodly.
You'd be correct, actually. And let me just take a little brief moment on that, explain it. I figured that might be kind of hard to show here, because actually it's kind of going off camera. But my vanishing point is down over there, and you'll notice that both my and once again, that's something I kind of eyeballed when I was doing this. So yeah, really, a tail and a mane are almost like additional limbs for ponies in the show. Also, too, another thing here is that the eyes actually go beyond that. You know, they'd be like ping pong balls like this. I'm just drawing where the eyelids are and everything in advance, so you only see that much of the eye. But you have to remember the eye actually is a completely round sphere. I've gotten to the point here where I can erase out some of these. Now, some of you may have already put two and two together and figured that this is Apple Bloom. Also, one thing to remember is that her spine is up here, but her shoulders actually don't come all the way up to. They actually are below, and that's her shoulder. That's her upper arm. That's her elbow. That would be what we would consider our wrist, and then these are like the joints of the finger. So it's like wrist, joint, and then this part right down here is kind of set. There's a little pivot right there. It's there, and there. And that was one of the things that I have to thank my wife Smudge for, because she understands horse and equine anatomy far better than I do, and she was very, very helpful at, very lovingly say, "No, dear, that's wrong."
But she is a skilled rider.
Mm-hmm.
Still gets out to these stables once in a while when allergies aren't kicking her butt.
And also finances right now. Riding's not cheap, unfortunately, but we'd love to get her back. What she really actually would love to learn how to do is not so much riding as driving. She'd love to learn how to be able to drive a cart or a wagon. That's one of her real loves would be to learn how to do that.
How is the volume, by the way, on that little auditory, whatever you want to call it?
That's right. Ponies stand on effectively one finger.
Yep. When they lift their hoof to you, they're giving you only one finger. Which one is that finger?
Yes.
Okay, so it wasn't too loud. Excellent.
All right.
Excellent.
Good. How's my sound tonight? Because we, in the process of doing the last stream, lost the little fuzzy ball for my my mic.
Looks like it's coming through. Yeah, looks like it's coming through fine.
All right. Good. Very good.
Could actually be a touch louder. Well, we can do that.
All right. And of course, I'm not speaking with quite full volume tonight because I do have a bit of a scratchy throat, and I want to make certain that when 9:30 comes around, I can actually say goodbye to all you folks.
Goodbye.
That's right. Yeah. That's right, Smudge. Sean moved his stable to a new location. We need to go over and see that.
Didn't she used to go to the stable? It's just up the road a bit from here.
Yeah, but not anymore. They basically lost their lease after like 10 plus years, and they've moved to a different location now.
Okay, so I think of the one that's on like Old Calaveras and I guess it's Piedmont Road there.
Yeah, it basically runs up right by the golf course there, very close to where the because when you're up there,
where Ed Levin Park is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's the dog park. That's I say that when I go dog parking, the dog the park's in.
Yep, because you can watch the guys when they get good air. You can watch the guys who are parasailing.
There you go, horse. It was muffled, yeah. Yay.
Yay.
Alrighty. Okay. Let's say again, Karen was a bit hard to hear. You should like call that a feature, not a bug.
Okay. Now, one of the things I'm just jumping ahead on our little art detail
worrying.
is the eyes.
Eyeballs.
Eyeballs. How do you make sure your eyeballs are all going in the same direction? Well, once again, just
Don't
like
get drunk. Okay.
That's true. But once again, just like drawing. In fact, can you just kind of zoom in on the head here?
I can do that.
All right, thanks.
I can do that. Do the things that I did do.
So people can see this a little bit more clearly. Oh, they're in the parks near Happy Hollow now. Okay, that's right.
Okay, so down on like 10th Street. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
All right, so once again, just like drawing the complete eyeball, I'm drawing the pupil and the iris right here. So I know that this eye and this eye are all basically going at the same location. So I don't have an eyeball like over here. Derpy. Okay, now the next trick is, well, how do I make sure my my little pupils here are in the middle where they're supposed to be? Well, one way you can do that is like draw like a little crosshair. Like so. And then in the center of this crosshair, that's where you put the pupil.
So, Lego would like to know if you have been to the Coastal Batteries that has the 16-inch naval gun.
I have been there years and years and years ago. I mean, before I was living with Smudge. Unfortunately, came up to the Bay Area, but I went up there back in the 80s. And it was, in fact, I believe, if I remember correctly, when we went up there at the time, they weren't technically open to the public, but we figured out how to get up there. Man, talk about some pretty, it must have, when the wind in the wintertime, it must have been quite a thing. Thank goodness they were indoors most of the time. We're doing garden duty, must have really, 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 really stunk. Okay. And of course, the thing for the mouth. Now, generally, as a general rule for me, if you look at my head detail drawings, I say, okay, the mouth does not come back further than basically the end of this eye. So once again, you can kind of draw a line if you need to. So okay, there, don't go past that point. All right. Generic. Well, it's funny you should mention that because I have made in the last few months a switch from just using a single CFL to using a dual CFL. It's got like how we have set up here, a blue and more of a reddish or orangish tone. And I know that people say that it produces more, like real daylight. Now, I've never been quite parse out what exactly that's supposed to mean because it depends on where you are in the world and what time of the year it is, what daylight's going to look like. However, I will say it does reduce eye strain quite a bit. One of the things that I am coming to the opinion of is that I am one of those people that in the wintertime when it gets really, really dark and gray, sometimes needs a little bit of pick-me-up to keep me going. So I may even be looking at, for this winter, getting one of those apparently they're blue lights that the Scandinavians have come up with that apparently really help with your. I find it my productivity tapers off in December, and I can't have that happening. I need to stay active, and I don't have the excuse of working retail and having the holiday season just wiping me out. So.
Yeah. Nozumi, yes. for what we're doing is here we have the main illumination. Little camera here, over here.
Camera thing.
There we go. I need to be able to see the picture here, so I need to move that over here and close that because that's the dialogue that controls the camera. There we go. Okay.
Have you gone back out again? Because I'm working on the whole body again.
Well, I actually got the whole body of the character there, but I will click the click thing right here. There.
All right.
And then I will go.
Breathe heavily into the mic. Great. Good job.
Yeah, perfect. So let's see. Then we'll go to drawing cam, and I will right click, and you see the properties.
Yeah, that's right. That's why GI flashlights quite often will have a red filter on them, and why you use them in a darkroom too.
Yep, because photosensitivity can ruin your day.
Yep, and nothing is worse. I haven't done a huge amount of darkroom work, but back in the day when doing things on film was the way you did, and I was on the annual staff in high school, I helped in there, and nothing made your day more miserable than after you'd been in the darkroom for about an hour working, and someone would come in, not even ruin the film, just simply open the door and flood the area of light, and suddenly you lost your night vision.
Right. So Horse says that perspective, etc., is set during the skeletal phase.
Correct.
Indeed. And I'm going to show you, by the way, to answer Nazumi's question, we've got let's see, the main light here. It has sort of a bluish tint to it, and it was really messing up color balance. So we have these two warp pods, warp nest cells, on either side, and these are
adjustable.
Lights. They have a bank of blue and a bank of red LEDs. So we just put on the red LEDs, the warm colors, to sort of balance out the main light, which is very cool color, it's very blue, and then we get a much better color. Now again, we're using webcams, which are not ideal for this kind of thing. Yeah, there you go. There you go, right there. Stare at you. Logitech C920s and C930s. Again, not nearly as good as a real professional video camera would be, but then again, that would be $1,000. So nah, we're not going to do that.
No, not quite. If my Patreon was doing a bit better, I could consider making. Yeah. And I have to thank all my patrons as it is, because in fact, time to do the pitch. If it wasn't for my support on Patreon, I would not be able to do what I'm doing. This is what I do for a living. For anyone who's new to the stream, I don't have a day job.
This is your day job.
Yeah, if you wonder how I can crank out so much artwork, because that's what I do for a living.
Yep. 40 plus hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
Slaving over a hot artboard.
Well, hey, gotta make it happen.
Damn right.
Gotta keep people happy. So I'm going down, I'm doing some of the shading now. I'm going to fly a little bit quicker because we're actually at 6:20 already, and I want to get this kind of set up a bit more.
Yep. You notice the highlight there just by across the hair.
Right.
Yeah, that indicates direction of lighting, etc.
And one thing you may have noticed, like down here in the belly, and I did down here, is your highlights and shadows are shapes too. So I will quite often say, okay, I don't want to go past this point of my shading. If another example, if you bring up, like, say, the tush pictures, you can kind of see where I blocked in things for various curves.
Yeah, we will make a close study of that in a moment.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, the other thing is that what delineates this is not just the overall shape, the cones and cylinders of the legs, but the fact that there are some fairly deep tendons that that read on the surface.
Yep.
That you can see there, like right where your pencil is right now. That is a very powerful, very strong tendon that controls the position of the hooves and the lower part of the legs.
Really, a horse has, Smudge can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it's my understanding from looking at anatomy, basically all the muscle on a horse is, for the most part, up here and up here. This is mostly all tendons and ligaments and everything.
All transmitted through the tendons. Yeah.
Yep. It's kind of like an archery bow almost, like a composite bow.
Let's see here. Let's find that reference picture. There we go. All right, so we're going back to reference here.
That's right. This is all for education.
For great science.
Yes, and enlightenment.
Yeah, there we go.
That's it.
There we go. All right. So which one of these three do you think has the best reference?
I don't know. Apple Bloom, because it's simply there's the most all delineating the different types of muscles she had.
Yeah, so let me go ahead and zoom that just a bit. There you go.
And of course, you can notice, the.
And you'll notice that she has a more muscular build than, say, Sweetie Belle next to her. I mean, more definition. Like, look on her lower back. Look underneath the rib cage. The size of the calves, because again, she's a strong earth pony. Has to do earth pony farming things as well as stay in shape for possible real world missions someday.
Yeah, and then of course you got like Skulu there. Now Skulu's got more like a track and field, much more wiry, much more lanky, much less body fat on her. Whereas Sweetie Belle's got more like that, kind of swimsuit model look. Where I'd kind of described Apple Bloom as having more like this weightlifters almost. Weightlifters
or world's strongest pony competition.
Yeah. Or military personnel type, that kind of, this is real world muscle. This is not, I'm trying to show off, look how much, definition I have. It's like, no, I'm actually going to go out and do something with these muscles now.
Okay, but enough of that. People don't want to see that. No.
Nope. Not
for a second.
Sorry with the boring slideshow there.
Yeah, you guys are also bored, I can tell. I can just feel the ennui.
Oh, really? Do we have to look at this again, teacher? We did this on the last test.
There was a scene in Monty Python's Meaning of Life.
Yes.
Where the students were so bored about sex education.
Yes. Once again, same thing, find some shadows underneath, because this is, of course, her eye socket, so she has a bit of a brow ridge. They don't really do that in the show, but it's something that pops up in my dreamscape, so that's how I do it. And once again, it helps add a little bit of dimension to the character.
There's your question, deathmatch. Question for you. Quicksilver versus Pinkie Pie. Would Quicksilver even be able to land a blow on Pinkie, or would Pinkie be able to dodge the blows endlessly, causing Quicksilver to completely lose her Maud-like cool?
Oh, boy, you're talking about immovable object means irresistible force here. The only thing I'd say is that, Quicksilver, because she actually is trained as a martial artist, would probably eventually figure out Pinkie
would get distracted at the wrong moment.
Wrong moment.
Yeah. There was a death match video. There's this guy that do death matches where the cartoon characters beat the hell out of each other. They do, it's fan animation, and they said, okay, Pinkie Pie versus Deadpool.
Mm-hmm.
And and you see the video, and the death match doesn't happen because those two totally see eye to eye. It's like, no, we're allies.
Yep. Now they also did Starscream and Rainbow Dash.
Oh, Starscream got his ass.
Yeah.
Because Rainbow Dash is just plain awesome, and Starscream is a weenie.
Yes. With that horrible squeaky voice that all the Decepticons had. Ugh.
God, what was the name of Starscream's actor, if I remember? Isn't that... I think Starscream's actor, I'm forgetting the name, did a voice in the show.
Yes.
Now
you had the name, and
it's
now...
It's not Dobson, is it?
I think Dobson. I think so.
Well, yeah. Okay, the race is on. Who can identify the voice of Starscream, who was also in the show?
We just for the record, we all know what show we're talking about here. Just to be clear.
Yeah, I think 17 out of your 18 drawings this week were themed, shall we say? Marvel Wolverine versus Mickey Mouse. Hi there. You seem to have a whole bunch of angst about you. Let's just turn that frown upside down.
Now, one of Celestia's mares in waiting that would totally get Logan is Phoenix.
Oh, yeah.
Phoenix would totally understand.
Yeah, but they both have regeneration even when it's mighty inconvenient.
Yes. Yeah, I was all ready to check out here, but darn it.
They brought me back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, folks, about 5 minutes till our first break. We take a 5-minute break every hour on the half hour, during which, the artist must get up and stretch.
And you should, too.
Exactly.
Well, I'm thinking about Kingdom Hearts Mickey Mouse, Horse, which he doesn't show it in the second game, in the first game, but probably in the second game, Mickey actually demonstrates some ability to do hand-to-hand combat, or at least with weapons.
Yeah. So the guy that did Rafiki's voice passed away. What was that actor's name?
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the, not Harry Belafonte, but Robert Guillaume. Okay, yeah. And of course, Fats Domino, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, all these folks that we got to know through mass media are getting old.
Yep.
I'm about to get old. I have an old day coming up.
Ooh. When's your old day?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Well.
Well.
We might have to do something about that.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just to let folks know, as far as dates and appointments and everything like that, Clear Skies, who I believe is still in the chat.
Yeah, let's see, he's still in the chat, although I think he was doing
a Shadowrun game.
Yeah.
He's doing a Shadowrun game, but he actually is listening in on the stream while GMing the game. Talk about multitasking. But Clear Skies has gotten verification. Roan has a table for BabsCon. We are confirmed in the vendor hall for BabsCon. So,
Horse. I don't recall whether it's like from one of the animated Transformers series, or one of the movies. I think it's one of the animated series. But yeah, I for some reason I'm thinking that it might have been Ian James Corlett. I think a lot of the crowd who do the MLP voices do a lot of work in series animation. Vancouver, they're all up in Vancouver, and it's kind of a hot spot for that. Also, all of the English dubs for widely distributed anime, that's done in Vancouver.
Yep, and of course you have to do a lot of. You don't get paid really super great money, so you got to be doing a lot of jobs to be able to pay the bills. Okay, it is 6:29. Why don't we switch back to regular camera? I got Apple Bloom here, kind of.
Yeah. There we go.
All right.
Yeah, say millions will be sad the day that James Earl Jones is, say passes away. What's going to happen
God's
is
getting his voice back.
Yeah, God's going to meet him at the pearly gates and say, "Give me my voice back." Thank you. That's much better.
I remember one of our friends who bought the Bible on tape for one of his relatives.
That was me.
Was that you? Okay.
That was me. My mom loved, James Earl Jones' voice, and my mom was fairly devout. So one Christmas, for a gift, I got her a set of CDs. It was basically James Earl Jones reads the Bible, and you listen to it. It's like, okay, this is kind of compelling in that voice.
Yeah.
But
I got religion.
Yeah, well, that'll do it. That will do it. Yeah. Now there's another voice.
Okay. There's a name used for the sharp Terminator line that you use. Okay, there is actually a term you'll hear thrown around in drawing. It's sometimes referred to as the edge that turns. When I come back to the next thing, I'll give you kind of a little demonstration of that. There's a classic drawing drill you can do. But anyway, we're gonna take a 5-minute. Yeah, Apple's getting more built. Yes, she is. She's working out she's got basically like a little gym at her place now. She works out every day along with doing all her chores, and she does assignments down in the waking world, not just in the dream realm. So she's actually getting pretty busy.
Yeah, no free time. Those helicopter parents and helicopter princesses.
Yeah. So we'll be back in 5.
You know what to do. You do it.
I do it. Okay, we go to where's the button? Oh, there's a button. And
welcome.
We're back.
Yeah, let's hope that that didn't interrupt the transcoding here. I have a theory. The theory is that when the screen goes all black, nothing but zeros, and the audio is fully muted, nothing but zeros, that for some that the transcoder may be saying, oh, all zeros, that means nothing. That means the stream's over. In other words, a bug in Picardo.
Yay!
But we are back.
We are here.
So to heck with that.
Yeah, right.
So what are we doing this hour?
I'm playing with an apple.
Buy some apples.
Apples. Apples are the good for you. Nature's candy.
Okay, thought that was pears.
Meow.
No, apples are sour and bitter.
Some candies are sour.
Kind of like your face right now.
Now, that was a great line. Yes. No, basically, we had a question about, the edge line that you get, that Terminator line, which is also called edge that turns. And if any of you have taken real drawing classes, you're familiar with the drill.
Still life.
Still life. You learn to hate them, but they actually serve a really, really good purpose if you keep your mind in the game and try to learn what they're trying to teach you. So we're going to do a real quick sketch here.
Well, the art cops are coming. The art cops are coming.
Yep.
We're hearing woo outside.
Yep. So
yeah, we're not running the air conditioner. We just have the house fan and the windows open. So.
Next weekend, if we were streaming, which we're not, but we would probably actually wind to close this place up because it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to get our first real rain next week, looks like.
That'd be great.
Yes, it will be.
Yeah.
All righty. Candied apples, that's right. Hey, dear, why don't we do caramel apples tomorrow? It's going to be actually fairly mild.
Bring me some.
It's going to be pretty mild. Won't be too hot, so we run the oven. That won't be a problem. And we've got those nice Fujis. We got the sticks and we got the caramel wraps. I say we make caramel apples tomorrow afternoon. How's that sound? So what we're going to be doing here is working on. Let's see, am I getting camera range? Are you in camera view? Okay, so try this a little bit here so I can get this.
Yeah, zooming out a little bit more.
Okay.
There you go.
So we got the classic apple here. Can you do you need me to bring that down some more?
That's good.
Okay, right there. So right about there. It's kind of a side view. All right. Now, if we look at this thing here, we've got, here's our hot spot. We got a light area. And then you can kind of notice right around here where the shadow goes under. And if you notice right along that edge line there, it actually looks like it's a little bit darker.
But take a look at all the way at the very, very edge, right off of Byron's thumbnail. It gets bright again.
Yes, because what that point is doing is the paper here is acting as a reflector, and it's bouncing back up again. So if I wanted to... And this is a drill that I had to do over and over and over and over again.
Yep. And of course, you're going to have, let's say, a quick doodle of AJ ogling your apple.
That's right.
And while you are doing that, I'm going to do our hourly duty.
You do that
Get her
thing.
done. Yeah, there we go. Because that is the deal.
Yep. University Art, which is a wonderful Bay Area art store, gives me art supplies. In return, we do a plug for them.
Indeed. University Art is a high-end art supplies and framing store with branches in Sacramento, Redwood City, and San Jose. You guys should by now be able to recite this almost with me. Again, it's a great place for high-end art supplies, art instructions, craft fairs, seminars and workshops, and occasionally lending employees to live art streams. Yeah, they've been very nice. They've let us borrow a couple of their employees to demo what they do. All of the employees at University Art are themselves artists, and if you ask for advice, you will get good, valid advice rather than what's the most expensive thing on the store.
Or I don't know.
I don't know.
I took the instructional video.
You're the artist, not me.
I took the instructional video that they gave me so I could have the job.
No, that's Michael's.
Yeah.
But again, high-end art supplies, museum quality framing. They have handled, Rembrandt's, Albert Dürer, and original Picassos. They have handled original Nobel prizes. These folks, they're hardcore, and they're great, and they sponsor Barron. So we say thank you.
Yes. If you were here a couple of weeks ago when Jaya was on, Jaya was a former employee at University Art. Joanne, who was in the audience, live audience, 2 weeks ago. She's a former employee of University Art. Now she's an art teacher.
Yeah, and we might be able to get her on to do some of her own teaching.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to have her in 2018. Of course, Jeff, who was on like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, he's the assistant manager at the San Jose store still.
Yep, that was Jeff Bramschreiber. That's how you spell his name.
Yes.
Yeah, Bramschreiber.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a lunch meat to me.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
I'm so funny.
You're just full baloney, man.
I'm full of something. Full of Maloney.
So I got, like I said, my edge turns right through here.
Don't mention crayons around Jaya.
Yes.
That's like mentioning quesadillas around Twilight.
Yeah.
They're so cheesy. Now, Sal, that's because Jaya, one of the unusual media that she works in is called Encaustics, which is basically you melt wax and resin and then add pigments and then you work with them, you paint with them, you can use a blowtorch to blend them and to get some special effects. And people say, oh, wax and pigments, you can just use crayons, right? And then,
Then
then
head
her eyes
explodes.
have flames in them, and she shoots death lasers out at you. And it's wonderfully entertaining.
Yeah.
The next time she's on, make sure to ask her if you can use crayons.
Yep. Well, that's why one of another former University Art employee, Joey, had that handle last time. Loves melting crayons.
Yeah. By the way, the Jaya show is still in the cache of recordings underneath there. She is more energetic than Pinkie Pie.
Yes.
Yeah, and she and Baron did a collaboration last time in which one of Baron's drawings, she has figured out a way to lift the pigment off of
Xeroxes.
off of laser print or Xeroxes, not inkjet, and transfer it into her wax. Mm-hmm. It was fascinating, and oh my God! I thought, okay, this is going to be kind of cool. Then we saw the result, and I was like, oh, well, Dusty beat me to that one. Yeah. So again, absolutely fascinating technique that that lets you do really fine work, line work, and preserve it with wax, color underlay.
Okay, hang on a second. Are we having a?
Okay, we still are having a straight up. The upload is still good.
Did someone spill brain lubricant over the computer?
Yeah, nah. Upload is still all green. Picarto. Be nice. Yeah, stream go down the hole. Yeah.
Can you even hear us, or is it like utterly just Deadsville?
Yep, and it's back.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, we are back. Yeah, in OBS, there's an indicator to whether the upload is going correctly or not, and that remained all green, and the upload rate remained a constant, about 1,300 kilobits a second.
The only other thing I could think of is, are we maybe having problems with the dish?
No, not at all, because that was show.
Okay.
That was show. No, this is what happens is that we upload the stream in RTSP, real-time streaming protocol format. So it's just one particular video and audio format. And then Picarto changes it, it's called transcoding, going to a different encoding, into HTML5 video and FLV video for the Flash using crowd. So the video is converted before it's streamed back out again. This is why there is a delay, because it takes a little bit of computing to change it. And apparently at Picarto that process is failing. So yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Yep.
Circumstances beyond our control.
Yep, exactly. So, and it's transcoded again for people who are doing the mobile browser, which is the mobile client, which into lower bandwidth, which is why mobile folks have additional 5-10 seconds of delay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the audio thing at the bottom of the video, the little green bar is going back and forth the way it's supposed to do. So, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yep.
Ego, it's not satellite, it's point-to-point microwave, which actually these days, it's dedicated bandwidth. At work we're using point-to-point microwave. It's better than fiber because, or cable modems or anything like, or DSL or anything like that, because they don't oversubscribe it. If you pay for 50 megabits a second, you don't get 49, you get 50. Mm-hmm. Regardless of what the 500 other people who on your city block are doing, whose bandwidth you share. So yeah, that's what we're doing here. It was either that, Comcast, or AT&T, and the quality of service of Comcast and AT&T around here is awful. So we go through a company called Etheric Networks. We have a big dish on the top of my house here. It's pointed at a mountaintop. And even in bad weather, I get exactly what I pay for. You will never get that with cable.
You pay for it, but you get the service.
Yeah.
They hold up their end of the deal. In fact, we had a situation earlier this year during one of the bad storms when they really jumped through some hoops to get us back up and running again.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
What they had happen was there was a power outage on. Etheric has got about a dozen mountaintops and tall building tops that they have, big master antennas on, and power was lost to Coyote Peak, which is the one that we go off of. But they have an emergency backup generator that immediately comes online. So 20 seconds later we're back online, and so PG&E, hey, go fix that. PG&E goes up there, fixes the problem, looks around, says, oh, hey, there's a generator here. That must be ours. And basically steals Etheric's generator.
Yes.
And oh boy, did Etheric go off on them. Yeah, PG&E says, oh, sorry. It's like, you stole our equipment and knocked our customers off of the net, and this is business lines. We're going to hold you responsible. PG&E is like, oh my God, PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric. Oh my God, we're so sorry because we're stupid. So
we blow up neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Yeah, she likes this apple.
Responding to something here.
Respond.
Yeah.
And I left enough room on the paper for her hat.
It was AJ. You got to have room for the hat.
Yeah. In fact, I had someone comment on the posting I put up with her talking to Apple Plum. Go, what? Is that AJ? Where's her hat? It's like she takes it off every once in a while. No, she doesn't. It's bolted to her head. Now you'll notice with this one here, I did do some of the construction. Skeleton for AJ, but I didn't do all of it like I did in that last piece because I can kind of already parse out where I want to have some things.
There we go. AJ is the hat, the pony under it's just the host. That's right. It's the hat is a parasitic life form, kind of like the brain slugs on, in Futurama. Yeah, AJ died in Manhattan, and and the hat came back. Well, yeah, probably. That's just inertia. AJ's operating on her local cache.
That's right. And she's got like 8 hours at least of cache, so enough time for her to take a sleep and then put her hat back on.
Exactly.
She just can't sleep in too late in the morning, or she might not make it.
It's a UPS, uninterruptible pony supply.
Oh, uninterruptible Stetson.
Yeah, there you go. And speaking of Stetsons, I see the top of your head.
Oh,
there you go. I'm going to adjust that camera because it's fairly high up from when Jeff was doing his thing.
Right. Okay, stand by, folks, for technology. Listen to Kerwin curse at things.
There we go.
Tidy.
Yep. Yeah, and again, you can see the interruption there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, well.
Here we're trying to give folks a nice evening of entertainment, and someone has to come along and try and muck the whole thing up.
And Ligo's going to have something to chat with you about offline.
Okay.
Yep. We can blame Picardo for it. No, we like Picardo. Picardo makes this service available
at a very reasonable rate.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're ad free, and as many users as want to can join, without any limits. And they're charging $14.95 a month for that.
We were looking. We were on Livestream. It was Ustream originally.
Yeah. And Ustream was awful. At a much higher price, and of course, live stream is even worse. Mm-hmm. Of course, nowadays, YouTube Live they're trying to do a thing, and of course, I think Twitch is starting to allow art streams. So we may actually want to look at some point in the future doing simulcast, upload to all of them at the same time. I have to find out how that's done. I know that a lot of people are doing it. So, but yeah, we'll see. And then the problem is that the chats wouldn't be unified.
Right. And that could get possibly confusing.
Yeah. what might happen if AJ were to become a bat poon for nightmare nights? Well, we would blame Fluttershy for nibbling on AJ's neck.
Yep. Well, it was an apple. If you're nibbling on the neck, the cute marks are on the back end.
Now, Picardo has actually been very good to us. You know, their admins directly contact Baron and work with him on a bunch of stuff. There's whatever other streams may be in the future, we're going to stick with Picardo, you know, for simulcast no matter what. Yeah.
I know people say, yeah, you can get a bigger audience on Twitch, but necessarily are they people that I want to have?
Yeah, but not a better audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bigger numbers aren't what I want.
No, we like you guys as you are.
Exactly. And you guys are a great crowd. I mean, it was when I first started doing the streams, I was left with the impression, okay, I'll do this, and this is something where people will come after they're done, you know, with doing their thing on Saturday and watch my stream. What I found out was a lot of you folks, this is your Saturday entertainment. So that really was something special. Thanks, guys. I'm not just joking. That really was a big thing.
Yeah, so we're on the West Coast in California. You know. Oh, by the way, where are you from, Sal? Apparently, Sal is in Europe.
Oh.
She's in Europe. Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of like a couple of ours, like Andy Carrot and Nazumi and Monkey Chip when he can get in.
Hello, Marshall. Oh, Sal's in Sweden, so I have a new language. I have a new language.
Yes, we have a new language. You have to play.
I actually have two that I need to add.
Oh, what's the other one?
Finnish, Suomi.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, I have to add Suomi to
the welcome.
Yeah, exactly. So.
All right, so this is this kind of a little silly thing. I decided I'll put AJ in here, clean the giant apple.
Well, Sal, hej då. In svenska, yeah. Svenska, Suomi. Yeah. Two's company, 53 is a crowd. There you go, perfect. Yeah, Atlantic Canada. Newfies.
Yes. Newfie. And that's the other thing. I mean, some of you folks, you're staying up very late or getting up really early to do this, and it's like.
No, and Goldfur is from Australia.
Yes.
So we do have a very round of the world audience here. Yeah.
And I say I'm very, very honored that you guys decided to spend your time watching me make marks on pieces of paper. So anyway, that kind of finishes this little exercise here. I just wanted to kind of show that little detail off. But someone made a question about what would AJ look like as a bat pony. That sounds like kind of an interesting little exercise. So let's play.
So big deal. So Nova Scotia. Okay, that would be. I think. Or there's a couple of other islands there. You know, France has a little tiny island in the middle of the St. Lawrence Seaway, sort of between Canada and the United States.
Little territory they're still holding on to?
Yep. And the U.S. has explained to them, no, you're not going to use it as a military base, and you're not going to use that as an excuse to try and exert territorial waters. So stop it.
Yes.
I think it's Marquette or something like that. I forget the name of it. But yeah, it's just this little anomaly. Yeah. The large apple is a product of Earth Pony magic. Well, it's kind of like those 1,000-pound pumpkins that get grown over in Half Moon Bay, which is about, I don't know, 45 minutes from here. And about this time every year, they have a contest for the biggest pumpkin. And the winners are always well over 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, and of course, it's a 45-minute drive, except when the pumpkin festival is going on. Then it's a couple hours to get there. Yeah.
Copper Cheetah says, is there such a thing as Earth Pony magic?
Yes.
Oh, yes. It's very canonical. Earth Pony magic in the show, it's actually demonstrated more than once. The ability to make things grow better, faster. I mean, sometimes right in front of you. There's a scene where Applejack has a hoof full of dirt, and then she's singing her song, that stuff there, and the sprout just comes right up. And the other thing is physical strength. We saw that at the season closer for season 4, where Tyrek stole Earth Pony strength and Earth Pony magic. He was able to extract magic from all 3 of the pony tribes, including Pegasi could not fly.
He took the flight magic.
Right, which is why my theory for why Scootaloo can't fly, even though she has relatively small wings, well, of course, Bulk Biceps has these tiny, shrunken wings, steroids, Yes. But he can fly, barely. But he has Earth Pony magic. I'm sorry, he has flight magic, air magic. I think Scootaloo doesn't have...
Hey, Bubble
Hey, Bubbly!
Hey, welcome to the stream.
Yeah.
If you folks aren't following Bubble you're missing out on something good.
Andy Carrot now wants a picture of AJ biting her own butt. Apples bite. Ow!
Actually, I just didn't do one thing here. Right here's something to fix. I think I put my line in.
Yeah, but Generic says they need to combine the pumpkin chucking contest with 1,000-pound pumpkins. Pumpkin trebuchets.
Yeah, there's that one competition over here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Yeah, Zecora, there's another one in Texas. Yeah, Zecora has magic of her own. Zebras are alchemists.
Yep.
Very, very good alchemists, and they can mimic a lot of the effects of unicorn magic with alchemy. Things like, the powder. She blew the powder, and it started acting out, a story that she wanted to tell. This was in Luna Eclipse.
Yep. Also, too, I find it interesting that Apple Bloom is kind of one, along with Twilight, is studying to learn how to make potions too, kind of alchemy type work.
So Auntie says if there's a problem, Scootaloo's problem is magical. Maybe there can be like what amounts to magical assistance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that I would think that would be possible. I don't think they want to do that in the show because that would Scootaloo's being used as a proxy or a point of identification for some of the viewership that has handicap problems, and Scootaloo's getting along just fine in spite of that. If somebody were to come along and take that away, oh, Scootaloo, it's all fine now, you just have to wear this amulet, that might send a message that they're trying to not send, which is, again, you can deal with what you got. That might undercut that message. So, yeah. I mean, yes, Tank has that little stick-on flying thing, and could Scootaloo get something similar? Probably, but that would undercut the message.
Yes.
So I don't think they're going to do it in the show. Is there another zebra in the movie?
Don't remember seeing.
Yeah, I don't recall one. Yeah. But can the zebras make the Philosopher's Stone? Well, if anybody could, they could.
Yes. Hopefully it doesn't end up anything like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Pinky Irrational Pie has a idea for a fanfic, that has something to do with Scoots has unicorn magic or earth pony magic from one of her parents. Apparently in one of the books we get to meet
her two aunts.
Yes, Scootaloo is sort of confirmed as not as an orphan per se, because they won't say dead. Oh, her parents are out of town always. But she lives with her two aunts. And the implication is that one of her aunts is biological and the other one is not. It's like I have two mommies, I have two daddies. So, and apparently that book was written by M.K. Toon, who is also the VP of Intellectual Property Development at Hasbro, and who is the executive producer on the movie.
And a really great guy.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. He's also the most fabulous guy I know.
Yes.
Do saddle Arabians count as earth ponies, or are they their own thing like zebras? Well, physiologically, they look like horses as opposed to My Little Ponies. I would say they're their own tribe, but that has not been explicitly called out one way or the other.
Nope.
Couldn't Hasbro use Derpy to the same effect? There is a history there.
Yes.
Derpy was
season 2.
Yes, back season 2. She was explicitly called Derpy in the first broadcast of the episode. And I don't know what went wrong, and they did. And apparently, some folks, some activists, did not like the way that Derpy was voiced, and they did not like the name Derpy because that's insulting. And so they gave Hasbro a whole bunch of crap. Went all social justice warrior on him, and Hasbro was like, "Fine, her name's Muffins." Are you happy now? So Hasbro's been burned on Derpy before. I am very surprised that they even considered keeping the character in place.
And the fact that they had her as a fairly important character in episode 100.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, while Hasbro's renamed her, they were very stubborn about, no, we're going to keep her in exactly as she is. Thank you very much. You activist people can go away now.
Yeah. And of course, my own thing is maybe her real name is Derpy, but my wife's name is not Smudge. Her name is Christina, but everybody calls her Smudge. So I could very much see a case of maybe her birth name is Muffins, but people around town call her Derpy.
Yeah. So anyway, Yeah, the official canon is that Scootaloo's parents are, apparently are away a lot, that she's not an orphan. And I can understand that because yeah, it is canon. We know damn well, say that AJ's and Apple Bloom's, and Big Mac's parents are dead. They've never said the word dead, but if our parents were still here, okay, that is not their traveling, the meteors falling, that's Applejack's, parents. The whole thing with, Bright Mac and Pear Butter. Yeah, it's pretty damn clear what's going on here. But then Apple Bloom and Scootaloo would be, you'd have two sets of orphans, and that's kind of stepping on each other's defining characteristics.
Yep.
Have the Bat Ponies become canon in the show as a tribe, or is the look a result of costume magic? According to Lauren and to Mitch...
they are legit.
Yeah, M.A. Larson, they are their own thing.
Yep.
Sort of an offshoot of Pegasi. Again, what Lauren says nowadays, I guess you might or might not take as canon. But M.A. Larson, again, story editor all the way up through season 5, he said, yeah, they're their own tribe. So, again, that's the only official word, but it's damn good official word.
Oh, I just realized I've got a lot more time.
Yeah. Hurry. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. The Perfect Pair, top favorite episodes. That's, for me, is number 2.
Yeah.
Number 1 remains Amending Fences because of its very significant real-world impact. Again, it triggered, reopening a lot of old friendships, including one of mine. And when you have that kind of impact in a show, real-world, lasting human impact, again, that's got to be number 1. Number 3 for me is the Christmas Carol episode.
Yes, Heartwarming Eve.
Heartwarming Tale. Again, I think as a Christmas special, that can stand as the equal of, Charlie Brown Christmas and Frosty the Snowman.
It makes a lot more sense than Charlie Brown Christmas does, especially now that as an adult going back and watching it. It's like, wow.
All of the Peanut specials are just these very odd things. Moon Dancer is my spirit animal. Yeah. Oh, she's a great character. Yeah, McClaw, that would be interesting. McClaw is suggesting, Lauren write a book about what she'd done if she kept control of the series. But that's the kind of thing that can be a career-limiting move.
Right.
Maybe airing dirty laundry can end careers.
Yeah, that'd be something more maybe to write, like, after the series is ended and it's like a decade or so. Basically, give it some time. Besides that, you'll probably gain some perspective. It was very interesting back in 2015 when we were down for EQLA and Mitch had Lauren up on stage, and that was a good point of healing for her.
Yeah, exactly. Well, for those who don't know what Baron is talking about, there was an EQLA where M.A. Larson interviewed Lauren Faust.
On stage,
it was just like a panel thing, and asked her, a bunch of questions there. And one of the things that he had arranged, it's like, how they usually have, glasses of water? Well, they had was jugs of gin. So as the hour went on, Lauren and Mitch both became a little bit inebriated, and some of the barriers came down. And the questions became more and more
poignant,
and pointed and personal, and Lauren knew that this was going to happen, and then the question came out. What do you want to say to the fandom? What are you thinking here? And Lauren, after this long pause, said, "I'm afraid that you guys have forgotten me and don't need me anymore." And of course, dang well what the 1,000 people in the audience had to say about that. As at that moment, Lauren could have said, go and burn them all across the street down to in ashes, and it would have happened.
Yeah.
But then she started bawling, and it was a healing moment. And Mitch had planned that, get her a little bit pickled so that the words would come out, the words that she had wanted to say, but didn't really want to say. It's like, oh, no, you need to say this.
Yes.
And I say, of course, the record was set straight. That was also the same convention, by the way, where she met Bonnie Zachary.
That was great to see.
That was a great moment too. Yeah, like it was a dirty trick, but it was one that they had talked about in advance. Mitch would not pull that on somebody.
Yeah.
Up front. But Lauren knew it was coming.
Yeah. Because they had talked about it actually. They had kind of gone over some of the questions the day before. It was kind of mentioned. He says, "Yeah, we talked about this the day before at the bar, and I told her that she needed to basically say this to the fandom, so the fandom could understand where she was coming from, because she
just needed a little help to say it."
Yeah, and she kind of divorced herself from the fandom for a couple of years. She didn't really reply back. And of course, she was busy. She's a working professional.
And apparently there was some bitterness about she had a very clear vision about what she wanted to do with the series, but she was working with somebody else's intellectual property, and Hasbro said, no, it can't be a serial where one show follows the next. Each show has to be able to stand alone. And they also wanted pop culture references that were more relevant to again, you see things like DJ Pwn 3 with modern equipment and stuff like that. While Lauren originally had it in mind, it was late 19th century and was going to stick to it. So she had a very clear view of what she wanted to do, but she wasn't able to do as much of her vision as she could, and she felt let down by that. And apparently, she believed that she had been told that she was going to have more control than she actually did. Mm-hmm. Two sides of every story. I don't know what the other side is. Having met Mike Vogel, MK Toon, who is the VP of Intellectual Property Development at Hasbro. I don't think it was that VP at the time. Yes, Hasbro exerts a heavy control over it, but I don't think, at least if Vogel was involved, that they would have led her on. So there may have been misunderstandings, or she may have hoped that it would actually work out different than the contract said, but it didn't work out the way that she had wanted. On the other hand, I'm going to pull out a biblical quote here. I'm not religious myself, but this is a relevant quote. The quote is when Peter, one of the main apostles, asked, what about my role, in your church, Mr. Jesus? And Mr. Jesus said, "You are the rock. You are the foundation upon which I will build the church." Lauren Faust is the rock. She is the foundation upon which everything that has followed has been built upon.
She created this amazing world, and she created these amazing characters.
The world, characters, the ethos.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the ethos especially.
Yeah, and though the control of the show is passed on, to Big Jim Miller and and others, and Hasbro continues to exert control, when they feel it's necessary. Lauren's hand remains deeply in the show to this day. Mm-hmm. They have not drifted so far away from what she wanted that it is not still hers.
Mm-hmm. And it still kept to the basic message and the basic tenets that she wanted to have.
Right. And that was actually part of her self-doubt, was that she had left the show, but the show became more and more popular and more successful. And so she started to say, I'm not involved. She wasn't involved in anything beyond season 2. But it's really successful here the way to season 5. I guess you guys never really needed me to begin with.
Well, there was also the hint of, was I actually holding the series back?
Yeah, exactly. Would it have been as successful if it had remained pure? And the world will never know. Mm-hmm. But I can see where the doubts came from and why she had to say what she did when she did. Mm-hmm. And the response was, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. It's still you.
Yes. Yep. She's not going to be at AQLA again this year, is she?
Who knows?
Okay.
Well, again, it's in her own backyard.
Yeah. Of which, I still need to take care of that. That's just something that's for Monday. I need to get my membership taken care of for EQLA, because we're going to go to the last one, just as Dusty's at the last Nightmare Night this weekend.
Well, I've heard this is the last EQLA before. We'll see.
So
We'll see.
Okay, we'll see.
But yeah, we're going to be at EQLA, guys. So if you want to,
if you're in the LA
meet
basin,
Baron and hang out with him,
that's where I'll be.
Yep.
Probably at the bar.
Yeah, pretty much. The hotel bar.
Especially if Larson's there.
Yeah.
Because wherever Larson is, the con is.
Yeah. No, if you ever get a chance to have a drink with M.A. Larson, take the opportunity.
Or Peter New.
Oh yeah, Peter New is just great. Peter is one of the most genuine, wonderful, affectionate people in the. They say still waters run deep. Peter's emotions and thoughts and caring about people run very, very deep. He is a wonderful human being. He's the kind of guy you'd want to know even if he never took up acting at all.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, she makes an okay Bat Pony.
Yep.
It works.
Wonder if Hasbro marketing plan is why the movie was so disjointed. I didn't think the movie was disjointed. I thought it was old. I think that the movie. Okay, we're getting into movies here.
Yeah.
Turn down the volume for a few minutes if you don't want any spoilers on the movie or opinions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because we have some opinions, and well.
Okay. Opinions in 3, 2, 1. Big Jim Miller says that the My Little Pony movie is set between season 7 and season 8, but there's so much in it. Things that the characters we know they can do. And or characters that have become important in the show, like Discord. Where the hell were they?
Yeah.
Again, the show belongs between seasons 3 and 4.
At best.
Yeah. Well, again, it's like it is Princess Twilight, but before Twilight, really came into her power. Before Discord, the Storm King is stepping on Discord's territory. He is a creature of chaos. The personality of the Storm King is basically Hades from Disney's Hercules. The serial numbers filed off. Discord would have been all over him like flies on poop.
Well, besides, he threatened his waifu.
Yeah, exactly. Threatened Fluttershy. Discord will go ballistic if he finds out. And one of the things that happens is that the princess's magic is taken away. Stop me if you've heard this before. And Discord felt that very clearly in the Tyrek episode. He would know what that feels like and what it means. So if most of the story problems that people have with My Little Pony the movie, I think can be cured simply by saying it takes place between season 3 and 4. All of a sudden, everything makes sense. And there's a reason for that. The script was written by, not Meriwether Williams, Megan McCarthy, right about at that time. And it was later massaged into shape by other people who were not regulars on the show. So they basically, and what Megan wrote at the time was the way things stood at the end of season 3. So if it feels like it belongs between season 3 and season 4, that's when the script was written. So yeah.
Yeah, even by the fact of how the characters acted and everything, even by season 3 or 4, they had gotten a little more worldly experience, and they sure weren't acting like that. And the fact that Equestria felt like it was Canterlot and that's it. And the moment you got past Canterlot, you're out in the wilds, and it's like, well, what about the buffaloes? What about the zebras? What about the griffins? All these other things, and all these other people they were running into. We've never seen anything like this in the show.
Yeah.
And it felt like the moment they stepped out of Equestria, they were in like some kind of ice plant or something like that.
Yeah, the idea that Equestria is the one little bubble of prosperity in a messed up world.
Right. And also, why is everything bipedal all of a sudden?
Yeah. Bubbly points out that say there were season 6 and season 5 characters in the background, but that's the key, is in the background.
Right.
Super easy to add, but they did not play any kind of role in the movie. In other words, they're sort of tacked on in storyboard, but they weren't in the script.
Right.
The script is season 3.
You can just simply add art elements to the storyboards. That's
Yeah.
That's a lot easier than actually putting.
Yeah.
I'm just drawing Bat Pony AJ here now.
Yeah.
Because I can. I have some time to do it.
Yeah, it's like I said, horse. That's pretty much something good, not great, flawed, but still a must-see for, say, for bronies. That is certainly true, and I got to tell you, there's some great visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Shalano, best visual character come out of that series, come out of My Little Pony in a long time.
And I love
Gorgeous character.
And I love Tempest Shadow.
Yeah,
Tempest they did some great animation with her. I mean, they swung for the bleachers and it went out of the park for the animation and some of the art design. It was really quite nice. And it did make its money back. It was not
and then
a loser. Yep.
Yeah, and remember, the purpose of the movie was not to be a box office smash and make lots of money for Lionsgate, the distributor. It was to make you want to go buy toys.
Yes.
And and it's succeeding at that.
So mission accomplished as far as Hasbro is concerned.
Yeah.
Which is why they may be considering.
Yeah. Going beyond 8, hey, we'll see.
What's that? Yeah, maybe it's possible. A lot of it's all going to depend on if the toy sales, if the property is making Hasbro money, they will keep rolling Pony until basically it stops being.
Exactly.
And so, if you want to see a season beyond season 8, my recommendation is go to Target.
Buy official Pony merch. Make Hasbro glad they did it.
Or Toys R Us.
Well, assuming Toys R Us sticks around, they just declared bankruptcy.
Yeah, but it's apparently it's a restructuring.
Yeah, it's the lesser bankruptcy.
Yeah, basically they got saddled with a whole bunch of another company's debt.
Yeah.
Like, thank you. We love you too.
Yep, exactly. So, yeah, Catspaw puts it pretty well. The movie felt hermetically sealed. Yeah, it was a standalone thing.
It doesn't contribute anything to the series, and it doesn't take anything from the series.
Right. It's isolated from, say, from the canon that was developed beyond when I think the script was written.
And also, too, it had the advantage if you were coming in to watch the movie for the first time.
You know nothing about the series.
So you basically watch, oh, that's kind of cool, and you can leave, and it's not like, oh, well, you need to know about Trixie and, Starlight, possibly being a thing.
Yep.
Or this, or that happened in season 5. Nope, none of that.
Yeah, so like Foxfire says, speaking of someone with a background in animation, they knocked it out of the park in regards to animation quality. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did do a very good job. Some of the 3D, forced perspective stuff was a little bit heavy-handed, but you know what the animation style reminded me of, was a great deal, was some of the things that DreamWorks was doing in the 90s.
I say Ice Planet, I believe, was not there.
Yeah, Ice Planet. Little bit of Bluth, particularly with, God, what was that Vermin's
Grubber?
name? Grubber, yeah. Grubber's design, he could have stepped straight out of a Don Bluth pick.
Yeah.
Or Lilo and Stitch.
I love the one bit of fan art that someone did with Tempest going to Grubber saying, "Prepare my ship," and he holds up the drawing. Ta-da! With Princess.
Okay, we've confused Lego, and he's going to have to go catch up on the on MLP season, so he's going to go watch it. All right, we'll see you later, Lego. You're going to have a good time.
Yes, enjoy yourself, and contact me after the stream.
Consume mass quantities of porn.
Yes, I can think of worse things. Actually, a person, they're not in the chat tonight, who contacted us a couple of streams ago about the whole question about, the love and tolerance message. I've actually been going back and forth and having some fairly extensive conversations with them on DeviantArt about, the series and, how did I get into it and
Yeah.
And what did I like about it.
Now, Nozumi is channeling her inner cone head. Consume mass quantities from the south of France.
Yes. Cheese orbs.
Yep. So Lego's got it right. Titan AE. Lilo and Stitch.
Yes.
The Grubber's design looks like it came out of that.
But talk about an underrated movie that doesn't get as much.
Yeah.
And being very different.
Yeah. Well, it's more adult in some ways.
Yes.
More mature.
Yes.
No, but yeah, the animation quality was even if the plot doesn't do much for you. I recommend going and seeing it in the theater if you can, because there's some stuff that looks great on the big screen that's just not going to translate even to a large big screen TV in somebody's living room. It is designed to be a theatrical experience, and they succeeded.
It also has some pretty good acoustics and some sound and some.
Oh yeah.
Having watched Caradwin here struggle on occasion to get audio to work right. And Larsis could totally agree with this. Sound is so underrated. It is so much more complicated, I think, than people give it.
Yep.
I get all excited about the moving pictures.
It did remind folks of classic Disney. Well, again, a lot of the staff that worked on it have worked for the mouse.
Yep.
Yeah. Pony on Broadway. Well, if they can do it with Lion King, it would be easier to adapt Equestria Girls, but I don't think it would be compelling.
Yeah.
But Pony on Broadway, I wonder if we could. I wonder they would have to get a good lead singer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, someone who's experienced in Broadway musicals to carry it. I wonder if they could do that. Oh wait, Lena Hall won the Tony Award, and of course, it was Rara. Countess Coleridge. I think it could be done, but I don't think it would make a big splash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got lucky, Webster. We saw it in a theater that had a good sound system.
Yep.
Yep. Don Bluth did indeed work for the mouse. He was on Robin Hood. He led the unit that did all the kids, you know, like the Rabbit Kids and the Turtle and all that. That was Don Bluth's animation unit. And immediately after they got done making Robin Hood, they all quit en masse and went and formed Don Bluth Studios.
All right, I got it.
The first film was Banjo the Woodpile Cat, which was sort of an exercise in building a studio and figuring out, okay, we got to do the business aspects as well as the animation aspects. Then they did A Secret of Nim, and The Secret of Nim knocked it out of the park.
Yep.
You know, again, very, very loose in the story. You know, there's plot holes in The Secret of Nim you could drive a truck through. But it was such good animation and such wonderful characters, and they had James Horner for the soundtrack, which is, James Horner? No, Jerry Goldsmith.
Yeah.
Jerry Goldsmith for the soundtrack, and it wowed a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And it made $37 million in the box office against a budget of $4 million.
Yep.
So it made money.
Yes, it did.
Didn't one of the Asian countries do a stage musical of Equestria Girls? Well, if you can dig up some reference for that, share. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of goofing. I got a few minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it really quick.
Yeah, just little bits there.
Going to show once again how I use the underlying skeletal structure here and everything to get,
Yep. Nim was Don Bluth's masterpiece. Well, it was not his most successful work. That would be An American Tail, which won, I believe, a Grammy Award for the soundtrack.
Yeah, but the difference between your best grossing and your masterpiece.
Yeah.
I would say that Secret of Nim was more of his master work.
Yeah, and again, Mrs. Brisby, the character, was just wonderful. Voicing was perfect. Unfortunately, her voice actress suffered from severe depression, and about a year later did herself in.
Yep.
But again, the character of Justin. Of course, then we had Jenner and his prehensile trained caterpillar eyebrows. Mm-hmm. And of course, we had John Carradine as the Great Owl. And he passed away from old age, during post production. Mm-hmm. And it was the first of the Dom DeLuise movies. That you had to have Dom DeLuise in your animated movie. North Korea invented the Equestria Girls. Ooh, yeah. Of course, Fearless Leader invented everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. The Smudge says that would probably be Japan. They do stage shows of everything. Yeah. Yeah, probably that's just the whole bit about North Korea's government claims that anything good was actually invented by one of Sun's ancestors. That whole Russians invented baseball. That kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's current politics, and we're kind of this stream we kind of steer clear of that kind of stuff. We get enough of that. We get more of an RDA than we need every day on that stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, we're.
Yeah, the owls, the great owl's eyebrows were the masterwork of The Secret of Nim. Yeah, well, that and Jenner's, Jenner rather. Jenner had two woolly bear caterpillars, for his eyebrows that would occasionally detach and dance. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you switch back to main.
Yeah, switch back to main here.
Oh, go back to main. There we go.
All right. Okay,
So
so...
player Dragon's Lair or Space Ace. I'll get back to you on that after the break because I've got stories about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you worked you managed an arcade during a time when those games were...
Exactly, when it was brand new. We'll have a story for you.
And when we come back, we're going to do a request. I'm popping a request on you guys. So during the break, think about, don't tell me now. Oh, but is Kumichu, is that new?
Kumichu, yeah. Hello, Kumichu.
If you're
new,
hi.
Welcome.
I'm Baron. This is Cared1.
Yep. Yeah, say he does art. I hit things with hammers.
Yep. So we're going to be back in 5 minutes and stretch, be
Yep.
biological.
Yep. Start thinking about your request. Don't say them yet.
Yep. Not yet. Wait for it.
We are indeed back.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what we got here.
Yeah, I think we got some more folks who dropped by since the Webba. Or was that's Horse.
Webba.
Horse on at least the main monitor here. Your type color is so
dark on dark. We're using the dark color thing. Yeah, it's always going to be somebody. It's okay.
Yeah, if you do it this way, it's going to.
Yeah, we're going to ignore that horse guy.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So, not yet on the request because first thing I need to do.
Yes. Now, usually I would be perfectly up for another tequila sour, but I'm taking a fair bit of, have a bit of nose problems, so I've been taking some nose meds. So I still have a whole bunch of lemon juice. That's right. So I'm going to have something here that's not quite so ethanol rich, and that'll make my wife happy because she always, looks out for me. Behave, Baron, behave. So I got that. 1998 Brony, are you new to the stream? I haven't seen your thing before in the chat. If you are, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. There we go. We got that. Just taking the extra lemon because I squeezed a bunch of lemon juice for the tequila sours. And then we added some simple sugar. Okay, you're new. Soda. Welcome. I'm Baron. The guy here mixing the drink is Cared1. I'm the bartender. Yeah, we do this every other Saturday on Picardo. Glad you could join us tonight. Alrighty. Okay. Ooh, and another pit. Now you know it's for real. Yeah, that's exactly. It'll get more sour towards the bottom because I didn't bring a spoon to stir it with. Okay, we'll deal with it. All right. I may sneak out in the middle of this for just a moment to bring a spoon in. That might be appreciated, actually. At least a straw at that point and stir it up that way. Yeah. Okay. I'm being a good boy. All right. My glasses. Yeah. All right. Oh, well, we're not yet drawing, so I wear these glasses because that way I can read what's on the monitor here. Okay. All right. Hi. So hey, Warskunk. Are you new too? If so, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So, this hour, we're doing a request. Baron is going to do requests. So, get ready with your request. But the rules are... And a couple things. What I would prefer to have something that's kind of Halloween themed. So, Halloween themed. None of your original characters. That's called a commission, and Baron does this for a living. Keep it PG-13-ish. And be a good sport if yours isn't picked. Requests. 1, 2, 3. Go. Let's see what you guys got in your mind, your imagination. All right, let's see what we got. Anthro Applebloom Scarecrow, CMC's Nightmare Night costumes as D&D adventurers. Ruby Pone, Pinkie Pie dressed as Peach from Mario, push-pull, yeah, I'll get it, thank you, pal. Pinkie Pie dressed as the human sassy saddles, wearing a denim miniskirt and high heels, Bettina digging through her custom box. Gotta keep that safe for all audiences here. Rosemary costumed as Wonder Woman, that could be cool. Yeah. Batguard Big Mac, Anthro spoiled rich as Elvira, Big Mac running scared like Sadie Hawkins herself was after him. Oh boy. Asia having a nightmare about the pumpkin farmer. Bettina Mouse looking in the reflection of your real-life mouse. Big Mac is Vampire Liberace, with taking these to mother. Octavia as Dr. Octopus. Dr. Octopus, blah! Mafia Twilight Sparkle. Ogres and Oblets, the D&D thing. Rainbow bobbing for Applejack. Nice! I approve.
Freddy Krueger pony, patina being used as by a bigum as a paintbrush.
Hey.
Horror hostess answer patina. You guys can.
Apple Bloom is Vampire Hunter D.
Alrighty, so
Actually, question. The idea of an Anthro Apple Bloom as a scarecrow, would she be just like a kid at that age, or would she be more like, the ones I did recently of her like college age?
I would vote for college age, but yeah.
Well, let's find out if we
Patina as the Great Pumpkin. Carousel as a 50s roller skating car hop wages. There's a whole bunch of things that went scrolling by.
Yeah, boy, wow, adult. Okay, yeah, adult, college, adult.
Okay.
I think we see a trend here. Okay. Alrighty.
So I'm going to push this button right here.
I'm going to change my glasses. Haha.
Right. And I'm going to get our hourly duty done. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to go sneak down and get a spoon.
It needs a little bit stirring.
Yes. Princess Luna's a psychiatrist, The princess is 5 cents in.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, you had the same idea in my mind, Lucy's booth. All right.
So I'm going to do the duty here real quick, and then we will get on with it. Let's see, what do we got here? There we go.
I'm going to do this in a portrait form. Actually, if I'm doing a portrait, I'm being stupid here.
There we go.
There we go. Let's turn around like this.
Hey. The mouse is Batmouse. I'm Batmouse.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We want to say thank you to University Art, who is Baron's sponsor. Mm-hmm. This is why we say thank you, because they are sponsoring him. They give him art supplies and stuff. Mm-hmm. University Art is a high-end art supplies and museum-quality framing shop with branches in Sacramento and Redwood City and San Jose, California. Very knowledgeable staff. They have art instructions, art instruction workshops, demonstrations. The whole shebang. Very knowledgeable employees. They are your fellow artists. Mm-hmm. And are kind enough to loan us their employees from time to time to be guests on our show, show you some unusual art techniques and medias. Mm-hmm. So, and they also put up with Baron for 20 years. So we are going to say thank you to them for that, as well as for sponsoring our show and keeping Baron in art supplies.
Yep, it's awfully mighty nice of them to do that.
There we go. There we go. Apple Luna's best crow scaring implement. Yeah. Chase him around with that big old scythe. I'm going to slice you into 4 and 20 blackbirds.
We're going to make a pie out of you.
There we go. That would have been great to ask Webley, except that would take a while to draw. Bright Mac and Pear Butter taking their kids trick-or-treating.
Yeah, generally only do these requestings. Now, I may do another request for the last hour. I'm leaving that up in the air as an option. So if you didn't get your idea this time around, it might come up next hour. But yeah, generally try to keep it like maximum 2 characters, because I try to start and finish one of these things
in an hour.
All
right, so I'm going to do this with the overlay point. And so now you can see there. Excellent. Yeah, I'm Bantam. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, so Smurfette in a Klaus Barbie Easy Bake Oven.
Wow.
There you go. But there's only one Smurfette. All the Smurfs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, old man stories. We have 2 old man stories. You need to tell the Teddy Ruxpin story, and then I will tell the Space Ace and Dragon story.
But by the time it become rewards, and we learned about Teddy Ruxpin, go ahead. Go with your Space Ace.
All right. My first real job, that did not involve a broom and a toilet brush, was the assistant manager of an arcade back when Sega operated arcades directly. The Sega centers. I was at community college at the time, and after a while, Sega divested itself of its arcades, and we got bought by a fellow who was just looking to own some arcades, sort of as a side business, and he bought the one and started another in Lodi, which I ended up being the manager of. But back when I was still at Stockton, Dragon's Lair came out. Dragon's Lair is a video game in which there was an old Laserdisc that they made what amounted to an animated movie, where the Laserdisc had like 2,000 quote chapters onto it that you could fast forward and rewind to, And what it would do is it would have the story, and you would use a joystick at a critical moment to determine whether the hero went left, right, forwards, or back. And depending upon what decision you made, it might take you to another room, and then play the video for that, or it might take you to a death scene.
Mm-hmm. There was lots of death scenes.
Yeah. Again, it had a stock standard Pioneer video disc player down on the bottom with a with the remote control interface was wired directly into into a very primitive computer that was the game controller. But nothing like it in the world. It was done. The animation was done by Don Bluth. Very, very popular game because again, nobody had ever seen anything like it. I mean, we went and we got the very first one in Stockton because the owner of the arcade went to the distributor and paid them a lot of money to redirect all of their Dragon's Lair games to other markets. Yeah, so we had exclusives for like a month in Stockton, and we set up a big screen TV, on top of the cabinet for the games, because it was a great spectator thing. People would be playing the game and lined up to play it, and there'd be like 40 or 50 people just watching, fascinated on top. So again, it was very innovative. Machine broke down a lot though.
They got abused.
Yeah, people get frustrated, they kick it, and of course right down to the bottom is where the video disc player is. Thank you for scratching the video disc. But one time, while the machine was broken, the video disc player was working fine. It was the motherboard that crapped out. And so a friend of mine had, some laserdiscs. It was big 12-inch size of an LP album, movie discs. And he brought in Star Trek II. And we just played it through the game. Disconnected the remote control, thing, and just put in the thing and just played it. And people got, oh, cool, they have a Star Trek game. So I'd stand in front of it and like wiggle the joystick around, at critical moments. And yeah, I was a bastard. I know what changed. But yeah, so yeah, that's and of course later on we got Space Ace, which was the same sort of thing, except it was again, science fiction where you're controlling our hero. Mm-hmm. So apparently Don Bluth has got the rights to Space Ace back, and is going to trying to make a movie, a crowd-funded movie of Space Ace. Mm-hmm. It's kind of lightweight, Zap Gun for Hire style science fiction, comedy stuff. But yeah, it could be fun.
Yeah,
could be fun.
Yeah, the whole thing for us was the year the Teddy Ruxpin dolls came out in the 1980s. Of course, they had these audio cassettes that you could put in there, and they were the whole thing was set up so that as Teddy talked and everything, the eyes would blink and move, and it all synced to the audio tape. Well, one of my friends went, it's an audio tape. You could put any audio tape in there, and it'd be kind of interesting to see what would happen. And I remember we came in one weekend on a Saturday when the main store manager was not there, and he went and he put in, it was, I think, Megadeth's first album, Peace Sells with Who's Buying. And we played that, and it was amazing because it looked like Teddy Ruxpin was like possessed at that point, and was
channeling hair metal.
Right, because his eyes started getting all weird and goofy. And actually, I gotta make this a long sleeve shirt because I gotta make sure I have like a little straw sticking out of it, like that long sleeve shirt.
Hey, Ander.
Hey, glad you could join us.
Let's see. Take a quick scan here to see if there's anybody else here who is new. Yeah, we already said hello to Kumachu. Mm-hmm. What else we got here? Anybody else that is new? Say hi. We don't bite much. Mm-hmm. Let's see. A couple of people here, but yes. Yeah, Dragon's Lair was a lot of fun, and it was a very profitable game. Mm-hmm. Did the head spin and did it spit? Pea soup. Yeah.
Not quite, but almost. The eyes would just start getting this weird, rapid,
Yeah.
twitching like you expected, like you were going to go run over and shove something in its mouth so it wouldn't bite its tongue off.
Yeah. Nizumi, as mentioned, Cliffhanger, which was sort of cobbled together from the movie Lupin the Third. It was the same sort of thing. Again, our hero is running down the highway, and the cars are coming over to try and run him over, and you have to dodge with the joystick, and if you don't dodge at the right time, whap, you get run over.
And that was a very hard game to play.
Yes, it was. Well, they all were. I mean, Dragon's Lair, it was fairly easy. Again, you had about a half second to react, and you had to. More or less, you had to memorize it.
And it cost a lot to memorize it, though, at that time.
Yeah, and we were glad to take your money.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. So there are servo tracks on a normal cassette, so his features still work. Yeah, that's basically it was using one of the audio tracks and mistaking it for the servo track.
And like I say, wow, it creeped out little kids.
As it should, yeah. Teddy Ruxpin is possessed.
Yeah. Well, especially when those playing songs like Peace Sells with Who's Buying.
Kangaroo. Oh, the video game where you hopped around with boxing gloves on and had to jump up and then you could hit the kick button or the punch button. Yeah. Yeah, that was back around 1982, I think. Has anyone ever already done a Kill Bill pony? Yes. Toxic Mario did a small series of comics along that theme.
I did a commission for somebody.
Yeah, and Baron did too. Yeah.
Yes. Which there was one piece that I left out of the slideshow for this week. We'll show it next stream. I did a commission for Cold Silver of Sambala from Daring Done.
Oh, nice, yeah. And of course, we had 18 this time, so yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll spread it out. Teddy wants to kill.
Yeah, it was funny because when we did it was right after the first Child's Play movie came out, if I remember correctly. So a lot of people had in their minds, oh, look, it's the possessed kid's toy.
The problem was have you ever done a piece with the ladies, standing at a straight pose, but with the males with the cocked hips,
Yes, actually I have.
Yeah.
I
He did an Abdul that once, I think. Well, of course, he does that all the time anyway.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a professional, wears a G-string the size of a postage stamp dancer anyway.
Yes.
I never did lose all that weight and get get that velvet painting.
No, you never did.
And maybe someday I will.
Yes.
Always wanted Button Mash dressed up like a starfighter, like from the last Starfighter. Yeah.
So you gonna get a thing to stir my drink or not?
Yeah. All right, we'll see you later, Smudge. You're gonna go get food.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Bye, waifu.
Yes. Bye. Drive safe.
Smudge is Baron's waifu.
What about waifu? Mary foo.
Yeah, there you go.
We're married.
Yeah, by definition.
Official.
Yeah, there you go. No, Baron is Smudge's waifu.
Yes.
But wait a minute. Or is it husbando? Yeah. Welcome to the frontier. Yeah. The one thing, by the way, that people gotta watch out for when they do poses like this, particularly with hoofed critters, is remember the hooves are out front a little bit. Where's the center of gravity? Are they going to fall backwards?
Yep, you gotta keep that in mind.
It has to be somewhere between the feet, and it has to be front and back. It has to be between the front of the toe or the hoof and the back of it. Yeah. Otherwise, they either have to be moving in some way to make it dynamic, or they're going to fall over on their butt.
Yeah, basically, it's kind of like there.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the master class in balance and
you're basically like a ballerina on your toes all the time.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if I don't understand how women can maneuver in 6-inch stilettos and not fall over. It is beyond me. Ladies, if you do this, your sense of balance has me in awe.
Yep.
How do you do that? So, the last Starfighter. Robert Preston was the alien in that. Yeah.
And that was one of the most, for the time, was quite cutting edge on some of the CG they did. And once again, they couldn't actually really see what they were doing. They were just putting code into the computer, and then they had to wait until it got developed on the film to see whether it worked or not.
It was basically burned onto film.
Right. It's like, ow.
How do you sing that high? I'm a girl.
Yes.
Women do have a different center of gravity. Also different hip geometry.
Yes.
Also, the knees have a little bit wider range of motion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, the difference is subtle. There's a couple of degrees here and there, but it adds up.
That's like, some of the limitations on human speed based on length of your legs and everything, and how fast you can move them.
Mr. McClaw, I do not have the legs to pull that off. Just try it yourself. Practice.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. As ugly as I am as a male, I would be worse. I'd be worse than orchard blossom, I do declare.
Yeah. I thought that was very amusing how they went, yeah, we knew you were big, but you in the spirit of the competition, and that's why we're disqualifying you, not because you're a guy, but because you violated the spirit of the event. It's like, very nice.
You can walk on your toes, you can't walk on your heels. You can sort of stump around on your heels for a few seconds, then you fall over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it hurts. In fact, that's one of the things I am overcoming right now at the moment, is I'm recovering from plastonitis.
Yep. Yeah, don't pull your legs off. Yeah. Now, I'm starting to get on in years. I got my first varicose vein that I have to get dealt with.
Oh, hey. Yeah.
I'm old. I'll be old tomorrow. Yeah. Brotherhood Social. Yeah, that was funny. There were some people that went, but no. Actually, Peter New got a little bit of flack for it. Again from the social justice warrior crowd, and he had one of the most eloquent responses to that. It's like, this is why I sometimes stand in awe of Peter New's poise. When something like this, something controversial comes up that he has some involvement in, and it's like he is so eloquent. He is, by the way, a screenwriter himself. He wrote Woodman, among other things. That movie that we went and saw.
Yes.
Yeah. Being old is great, means you beat death another day. Yeah. Mad Badger, I will be 54 tomorrow. Bubbly says, Baron, you draw lots of curvy females. Do you play around with different body types?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
That was one thing when doing the lineup of the three characters. Yes, they were all curvy, but I went for Apple Bloom having much more of a weightlifter's build, Sweetie Belle having much more like the swimsuit model, and Scootaloo having more to track and field. I also there's my one bovine character, Charlotte Meadows, who is a very different character.
Yeah, let's see. I'll make a deal with you guys. I'll stop mentioning social justice warriors if you will. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So my bad on bringing that up, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Baron has done quite a few different body types. He's done men with dad bods, and he's done ladies and and ponies, who enjoy their morning donut.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because all figures are kind of fascinating. There's various different things about them. It's like, this is neat to do, and this is neat to do, and
yeah.
Well, I'll attach her bow to the back of the straw hat.
Oh yeah, that's right. That cowgirl that you draw. What's her name?
That's Charlotte Meadows.
Charlotte Meadows. Yeah, she definitely has the Rubenesque figure.
Mm-hmm.
You have a story about about the term Rubenesque.
Yeah, of course she's gone to dinner now. So
yes, it's safe.
It's safe. One of the early days of my relationship with my wife, before we were married, in fact, she was still living down in SoCal. At one point, we were talking on the phone. Of course, she's going to Cal Arts at the time, so she's living the life, just immersed in art. And we were talking, and of course, the dreaded comment comes up for any boyfriend at that point, or husband. of thinking about blah 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 blah, sitting all day doing this, and I had seen her a few weeks before. We'd come down for a convention, and she made the comments, all this sitting around, I'm not getting a chance to do any weightlifting or going out and doing anything athletic, and I'm fat now. And it was obvious with this moment of, you're going to agree with me, right? So that I can now turn around and then rip you for
it was a trap. Yeah,
it's a trap. It's a Kobayashi Maru situation for you in that type of situation and relationship. And I piped off with the first thing I could remember from my art history class. I said, "No, Smudge, you're not fat. You're Rubenesque." Forgetting that Smudge had studied some art history too. And it was this moment of silence on the phone. And then I know what that means, Baron. And it's like, crap.
Yeah.
Because I had used that a couple times with other
That's going to cost you at least 24 roses.
Yes. It's like, darn it. Because I don't get away with that one before with other, some coworker. Fat. No, you're Rubenesque. Oh, that sounds nice. There you go.
You're not fat. You're Calipigian.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, again, do these pants make my thighs look fat? The only answer to that is, I love you very much.
You're perfect in every way, dear.
Exactly. Because anything else, and you're sleeping on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a trap.
Yes. All right, let's start throwing some shading in here.
Throw some shade. Horse, that's no dinky little M60. That's a Browning Ma Deuce H2 M2 HB heavy machine gun chambered in 50 Browning machine gun.
Created by his, Saint John Browning. Moses Browning.
Channel your inner Arlie Ermy.
Yes.
The right response for "Am I fat?" is, "Would you like some chocolate?" Of course, the answer to that, the response to that is, "Are you being sarcastic?"
Yeah, like I say, it really is.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. It's just can you die on your own terms?
Will you die on your will you die on your own feet?
Yes, it's like I want to die thinking I at least did the right thing.
Okay, I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory.
Right.
Arlie Ermy, a man making a living by playing Arlie Ermy.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much. Arlie Ermy, of course, he's the drill instructor in Full Metal Jacket. That's what he's best known for. He has a huge filmography, like 200 films. But he spent most of his early career as a consultant. Okay, I need to write a scene, or say, I need to write a scene for where Army guys do Army things. I need an Army guy to tell me how they actually do it in the Army. That was Arlie Ermy, the Army Ermy, except that he was a Marine.
Yes.
Don't call him Army. So
And he did eventually they gave him an honorary Master Gunners.
Yep.
In the Corps.
Yep.
Because he was a Master Gunner in Full Metal.
I have an Arlie Ermy story.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the mid-'90s, Arlie Ermy was one of the first Hollywood stars to have his own website.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking 1995 here. I was working at Netscape at the time. We were out there inventing the internet. Yeah, take that, Al Gore. And he had this thing where, he sold an action figure that was, Arlie Ermy in his uniform, and you'd pull the string and it would swear at you.
Mm-hmm.
Are you pulling my string? Why, you look like that, and just go off on a wonderful drill instructor rant. But for $50, you could have him make a phone call to somebody and wish them a happy birthday. And so there's another one of the folks, that we knew, Johnny,
mm-hmm.
who was a big Arlie Ermy fan, and said, okay, I know when his birthday is. Okay, I know his phone number. So I went to the website, paid my $50, and later got the report there. It's like from another one of John's coworkers. He gets this call. is this, John, whatever his last name is, which I won't say on the radio, yes, it is. This is, Gunny Ermey. You will stand at attention when I am addressing you. Are you standing at attention right now? And apparently Johnny leapt to his feet, stood at attention with the phone held to his ear. Sir, yes, sir. You say, you will call me Sergeant. I work for a living. Now listen, you maggot. Blah, blah, blah. And just started like cussed him out for 3 or 4 minutes in best, drill sergeant. And you will have a happy birthday. Do you understand me? Yes, Sergeant. Good. Slam. And Johnny was giggling for a month afterwards.
Yeah.
I got cussed out by Arlie Ermey.
And of course, that'd be one of the things where you would have to have one of the old-fashioned type phones that sits on your desk with a big, heavy receiver so you can slam it down hard and get that wonderful disconnect.
Yep. Yeah. The salty, yeah, they say the Arlie Ermey doll, they say the action figure, America's favorite 8-incher. Mm-hmm. That was what it was sold as.
Mm-hmm. He also apparently for a while had a thing where you could get for your Garmin navigation system. It would have Arlie Ermey do the you're going to turn right here.
Turn right, maggot.
And when you start screwing, what is your major malfunction? Turn around and go back.
Oh, I would pay good money for that. I would so totally pay good money for that.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, that's just that is more epic than epic can be epic.
How in the hell did you get a driver's license? Did you not get your eyes examined? You drove past.
Oh, that would be just magnificent. There's more than one sound chip for the action figure. I believe it.
Mm-hmm. Recalculate this magnet.
Would you call me, sir? I can read and write and know who my parents are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great stuff. The Marines have landed. Yeah.
Of course, since these are work overalls, I'm not going to get all super subtle and soft on the shading here. I'm going to be kind of hard and scratchy.
I did have to do this in D instead of C. I should transpose it.
Transpose. Hello, Time Lord. Glad you can make it back. Doing out anthro, college age, apple bloom, done up kind of as a scarecrow for Nightmare Night.
Yep. Yeah. That action figure was also released in PG version. Yep, but that why? Why?
Just make certain you don't buy it for like your 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
He likes G.I. Joe. Not G.I. Joe. Too late.
G.I. Joe. Wasn't Dwayne Johnson The Rock? Didn't he star in like a live action G.I. Joe movie that was very forgettable?
I believe he did.
Yeah, very forgettable.
Yeah.
Yeah. My time, hey, it's an easy road, Norwegian grandmother, hey, it's my navigator, you should turn right here. Why, I know back in my day, you don't know from cold, because in my day, we had to go through temperatures of 75 below zero, and the sun never shone.
Yeah. Or like Homer's dad. Mm-hmm. We break up strikes by just telling crazy old man stories until they want to leave.
Yeah.
You have to be worried for an onion. Tie an onion to your waist.
Every time I hear Scarecrow, I think of Batman. Of course, every time I hear Scarecrow, if I only had a brain. Well, apparently he was in 2 live-action G.I. Joe movies. And he is thinking about running for governor or something like that, or senate or something like that. Hell,
Okay.
I'd vote for him. Little bit of trivia. The movie Predator had 3 action hero type stars. It had Jesse Ventura, Sergeant Slaughter, big time wrestler. It had Carl Weathers, and it had Arnold Schwarzenegger. 2 out of the 3 of them went on to become governors.
Yep.
Arnie here in California and Jesse Ventura in
Michigan.
Minnesota.
Oh, it was Minnesota. Okay.
Minnesota. Yeah. So Carl Weathers, come on, step it up. You're breaking the thing for the whole team. Good night, Marshall.
Glad you could join us.
Yeah. Yeah. So we had a governor that was not afraid to say, "You are one ugly motherfucker." Okay, almost. Yeah. When the way that Arnold Schwarzenegger came into the governorship, California had some severe power problems back in the early 2000s, and it turns out that the electric industry was, making sure to put all of their, electrical, generation plants into maintenance mode at the same time, so that they could charge emergency rates. And there would be rolling brownouts, and and then the California government would sign into these extremely expensive long-term contracts. And of course, everybody was screaming for the governor at the time, Gray Davis, to stand up to these guys and haul their butts into court, because that's illegal. But instead, he signed all these contracts and kowtowed into them, and he got recalled for being weak and for for rolling over for the power industry. So there was an election, and Arnie ran as Republican, and he was on the David Letterman show during the campaign. And he was being interviewed by David Letterman, and he was just giving the thing, and see the Letterman of Conan O'Brien, and so it was brought up. It's like, but back when you were, doing the movie, Pumping Iron, and you're making this movie, and you were Mr. Olympia, and there were accusations that you had these wild sex parties with, many women, and marijuana, and the drinking went on for days, and it was wild parties. What do you say to that accusation? He says, "Yeah, I had a great time. I think everybody should get a chance to do it." That is how you take the wind out of somebody's sails when they're trying to scandalize you. You steer into it. It's like, "Yeah, I had a great time. You should try it too."
Yeah. And of course, he's worked very, very hard to actually He has to now work to get the accent.
Yeah.
He's got an awful lot of speech coaching, but now I have to, like Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Italian.
Yeah.
Italian stallion.
Yeah. Yeah, America's favorite 8-incher. Yeah, that was the Arlie Ermy doll, an 8-inch action figure. I don't know what you're thinking about. Yeah, again, Arnie ran against Peter Ueberroth, who at one point was the commissioner of baseball, and he was the organizer of the 1984
Olympics.
Los Angeles Summer Olympic Games, which by all reviews went off without a hitch. One of the last Olympics to do so. He would have made a good governor too. Mm-hmm. He got things done. But I like our governor. I mean, the thing about Arnie was that another thing in the same interview, so Arnie, at the time he was married to Maria Shriver Kennedy. Yes, those Kennedys. Mm-hmm. And it says, well, Arnold, you're a Republican, and the Kennedys are a bastion of the Democratic Party. How do you deal with with that, particularly given how powerful they are? It says, "Oh well, we do not really discuss politics at the dinner table. Besides, I have more money than they do." So it was great. Yeah, and he was a Republican. Now is a Republican, but who was very strong and very pro-environmental. I mean, he wanted to create a hydrogen infrastructure in California for fuel cells. He was basically a fiscal conservative and a social liberal, mm-hmm. which annoyed people on both sides of the spectrum to no end because they couldn't point fingers at him too hard. If you're pissing off people across the political spectrum just a little bit, you're doing it right. Yeah, he will pump you up.
Yeah, image of the barbarian. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. To crush the enemy, to drive them before you, and to hear the lamentation of the people who are not you. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm doing pretty good here. I'll get enough time to get this all shaded in.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I'll
Say, cold, we're talking about movies now.
yeah.
Now,
So basically what I'm doing right now with the shading in here is I'm just moving the lines up here. And what I do all my shading via, spacing of lines and pressure of lines. And by doing this, I can get some really nice effects. I can also define those shapes that I've kind of worked into the figure as far as the rib cage and the torso goes.
Yeah. Oh, just a reminder, Cold Silver, our channel. Yeah. Now, what I am hoping, and I know that Dusty's really hoping too, is that one of the biggest books in the Conan the Barbarian series was Conan the King, one of the last ones. That took place when Conan was aged, when he was in his 60s. Arnie's just about the right age to play Conan the King.
Yes, and there's actually some talk about him doing it. Right.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, God, there was a recent movie he made where he was like the sheriff of a border, town, and the drug lords were causing problems. And he's the guy, I'm getting too old for this. Yeah, there was only one good. Yeah, well, the first Conan movie was great. The second one was, that's the one with Grace Jones.
The problem with Grace Jones is you had to watch out when you're doing stunt work with her.
Yes, she apparently got so into her character that she clocked several of the stuntmen in the head and put a couple of them in the hospital. And of course, Red Sonja was so bad that the Conan estate would not allow them to use the term, the word Conan. They said, you got to call it something else. This is not, which is a shame.
Let's see if we can get this tail in before we run out of time.
Well, you got 15 minutes to tail the tail. Oh, that's AJ's.
Yeah, well, I got that she's at least my dreamscape. Apple Bloom is taken to tying up her tail to because it lets her do certain manipulative things like AJ does with her tail. So you can kind of like lasso work.
Yeah. That's the movie Battle Axe. How do you feel, Sheriff? Old. Another Western, Silverado, had John Cleese as a local sheriff, and the heroes come into town, and Cleese knows that they're nothing but trouble, and he's like, this is my town, and you can probably guess I'm not from around these parts. Yeah, and of course, they get run out of town, with the sheriff, chasing after them, and then, the Danny Glover character, was an expert with a Henry rifle, that damn Yankee rifle you load on Sunday and shoot all week. Proceeds to shoot the hats off of all the sheriffs, sheriff's posse, and he's like, I have decided today my jurisdiction ends here.
Yeah.
Pick up my hat. Yes. Good. The Last Stand. Yeah. Bushy tail is bushy. Tail implants,
Fluttershy uses tail extensions.
Yeah, Silverado was, there was a brief resurgence of the Western. Pale Rider for the grim ones, and Silverado for the rousing action adventure. They were both good, but they did not herald in a new age of westerns the way some people hoped.
Okay, Nathan, glad you could join us tonight. That's true. She may be related to Pinky, so definitely has prehensile tail hair. But glad you could join us. Nothing. Doing this again in a couple of weeks. Well, actually, okay, let's see here. Next week is the 4th.
Then the 11th, and then
yeah, but
so the 11th. The 11th will be, I think, will be the on week, and I think the next weekend is when EQLA is.
Okay, all right. We'll have to double check and confirm that. If it ends up being a case that, no, that's weekend, we'll be down for EQLA, then I'll probably do a back-to-back, but we'll sort that out.
We will figure that out. Gecko hooves and prehensile tail hair.
Yep.
Oh, and a hammer space in the hairdo.
That's right.
Let's see. Let's see if there's anybody else that's new. Clickety clickety click. Clickety clickety click.
Yes, gecko hooves.
Gecko hooves, the Wilkinson effect. It's magic.
It's the only way they can pick things up.
But geckos don't have it. Geckos have very, very fine, sort of like hairs on the pads of their, of their
Feet.
Their feet there, which are so fine haired and so close together. There's something called the Wilkinson effect. It's a low level, molecular effect. It's why they can just run straight up glass.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have suction cups. It's actually an electrostatic attraction that that allows them to just stick to stuff. So we figure that that ponies have gecko hooves. They have Wilkinson effect or contact levitation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. That's why Big Mac.
They can turn the glue on or off.
That's why Big Mac can bump a barrel of cider off a stack and then have it land on his back, and he just walks off with this round object sitting on his back.
Well, that an incredible sense of balance, as we've seen. 3 bowling pins stacked one on top of each other on the nose. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember watching Hidalgo with Viggo Mortensen. I loved that. It reminded me slightly of the Trinity series. Yeah. Now, if you like Viggo Mortensen, of course, everybody knows him as Aragorn from Lord of the Rings. You need to
Question out the way of Pone.
indeed. Vanderhall effect? That was Wilkinson. Yeah, that could be Vanderhall. Mm-hmm. There is a thing called Wilkinson effect, but it may be different. But anyway, yeah. Viggo Mortensen he played Lucifer in the movie The Prophecy, where he was going up against the Archangel Gabriel, played by Christopher Walken. And he played a delicious Lucifer. Oh yeah. It was his first major film role.
Mm-hmm.
And he was silky in it. He was nasty. We loved it. And he was about the only actor I can think of in retrospect that could have stood up to
Christopher
Walken being a malevolent archangel and not get the scenes completely dominated every single time, by an actor of Christopher Walken's incredible stage and film presence.
Mm-hmm.
Vandervalls, that's the one. Yeah, that was the sequels to The Prophecy. Kind of like the sequels to The Highlander. They never happened. They did not exist. Do not say they exist. They don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a mass hallucination.
Yeah, indeed. It is. You're talking crazy talk.
Oh, I still got 10 more minutes.
Way pre-Aragorn. Well, sometimes, once in a while, the sequel is better.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say Toy Story 2, I think it was the best of the series.
Toy Story 3 was interesting. It was a very different type of story, and it brought a sense of closure.
Right.
Toy Story 2 was a very different story, too. And all of them basically deal with, accepting as life changes and your role in the world changes.
Yeah.
So, some of their best writing, I think, Pixar.
Yeah, you're right. Aliens was absolutely awesome, but it was a very, very different kind of film than Alien, the first one. The first one was a psychological horror film. Mm-hmm. Aliens was action adventure. Mm-hmm. And it, to my mind, still stands as the best action adventure film of any genre ever made. Mm-hmm. It is just, heart-pounding, exciting from beginning to end, and I have never in my life seen an audience jump to its feet screaming, yeah!
Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, when Sigourney Weaver comes out in the loader, get away from her, you bitch! And just, again, people literally jumped to their feet and cheered. Mm-hmm. I have never seen that in any other movie before or since. Mm-hmm. Talk about impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Highlander, there should have been only one. Yeah. Someone did an analysis about how Ripley is a perfect female role model. unafraid, motherly instincts, but but not sappy. Knows how to be assertive when it's time to be assertive. And would not play the role of the helpless princess.
Well, it's very much the reason why I sometimes feel that they nerf Celestia so badly, because I am a firm believer in the saying the most dangerous place in the world is between a mother and her children.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
I'm sorry, Equestria is Celestia's family. And it's like, you go and threaten her.
Yeah. I'm so waiting to see a crisis in which Celestia isn't dwarfed.
Yes.
I don't think I'm ever going to get it.
I know.
What I'm going to need to do is get Big Jim Miller drunk.
There you go.
And just say, Jim, Celestia makes pretty terrible dwarf. You should get Michael Dorn to guest voice her because she gets her butt kicked so much. Yeah.
Oh, but I did like on Twitter, Stephen Andrews posting the thing about getting the 20-year-old bottle. I'm trying to remember which single malt it was. I was trying to get a reply on, well, what's it like? Is it creamy, spicy? It's one Scotch drinker to another. Please tell me. I need to know, 'cause I'm never going to afford a bottle of this.
Yeah. Yeah, Alien 3 I wish never happened.
Bad sequels, Independence Day 2. Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Yep. Celestia is Equestria's mom. That's a quote from DWK, who, by the way, has a new video out today.
Yes.
Go see it. Yeah. How about when Indy pulled out the gun and shot the big guy with the sword? Yeah, that was a great moment too, and that was an ad lib because Harrison Ford was very ill that day. He was supposed to go whip, 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 and he just was not feeling good. And the guy, was okay, take 17. And he just pulls out the gun, thing. Poof. And the guy, the actor, playing the sword wielding assassin, went with it, just flop. And I think
the crowd went, yeah.
Yeah, Lawrence Kasdan, I think, was the director of that one, or was it? I think Spielberg was the producer. It may have been the other way around. But the unit director, says, "Yeah, okay, we're going to do this again. This will be the last take. Do it like it was in the script to begin with, And so they did it, and that's what you saw.
Yep.
And then Harrison Ford went back and was sick for another couple of days with the flu, and then he felt better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Princess Celestia fought Worf. Who would be Worfed?
They would fight to a standstill, and then Celestia would say, "Why are we fighting? For honor." He will say, "Well, then we need to turn against the person who made us fight, and we gain our honor that way." This is a plan.
Yeah.
These are the ponies of a warrior.
Yes. That's right. At least in my dreamscape, she's capable of doing some horrific damage. But one, she's always been more the negotiator and the diplomat. Luna's been a little bit more the go out and knock heads together.
Yeah.
And she can do some really big, impressive stuff, but it takes a while to set it all up. And it's like, well, do I want to level this much of my countryside and my kingdom and my subjects in the process?
Tough. That's crazy talk.
Celestia's never been dwarfed.
Yeah. But yeah, again, Pinky, that gets back to one of my original assertions that if you mentally say between seasons 3 and 4, it makes a whole lot more sense. Or at least or at least you can so you can accept the power levels or lack thereof, and availability of certain characters or lack thereof as making as oh well, okay, that would make sense if so. Again, but I ranted on that earlier, so you have to go back and rewind.
Yes, we've done that rant already. Rant. Yeah.
Anti-care. Actually, the term "dwarfed" has to do with Worf the Klingon from Star Trek: Next Generation, and the habit that the writers had if they wanted to talk up a big bad opponent, they would talk about how they would in the show they would have people talk about how tough Worf was. Then the ambassador's bodyguard would pick a fight with Worf. Worf would fight and then lose. and then Picard or whoever was the hero of the day would come in and and beat the bodyguard. And so what you do is you talk up somebody about how tough they are, then you have somebody, that tough person get their butt kicked, and then the main characters come in and beat the bad guy. And how much cooler are the main characters because you know how tough the bad guy was.
Yep.
Because he beat up the tough guy.
And of course, it
happens again and again and again.
And it is a variation of being nerfed. It just happens to be Worf nerfed. They actually kind of,
yeah,
they work nicely as words.
Yep, there we go. The Worf effect.
Mm-hmm. There's the TV tropes. Oh, yeah, TV tropes. TV tropes is our friend for things like this.
Yeah.
Great way to waste an afternoon.
Just make sure your character isn't subjected to the Tasha Yar effect. In other words, don't tell your agents to tell the executive producer of the show that the show is really about you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that, of course, that's the Deanna Crosby effect.
Mm-hmm. All right. Why don't we switch back to main camera here?
We'll go from push the button, and then we say 1, 2, 3, main.
And actually, that turned out fairly well. So I might actually throw that one up next Friday on the, please, on the eShop too. I'll scan that tomorrow and post that for folks. Because AB makes a cute little scarecrow.
She does. She does.
She fills out those overalls very nicely.
Well,
Okay.
Alrighty, folks. It is time for the last break of the evening.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Stretch. Let's say have a drink. Mm-hmm. Go get rid of the drink you had before.
Mm-hmm.
We will see you then for the last hour. In 1,
2. Okay, we are back for the last hour. Now, while the break was going on, he kind of, put a hint for an idea for a request.
Hint.
A hint. He gave me an idea, and I want to see what you guys.
Which one?
Anna Holler Aspel Belize. Is that new?
Aspel, she's been through. Yeah.
No, I apologize. The one below. Beneath.
Oh, Athalia? She's been around.
Okay, all right. I can't keep track of them all. Now, this guy, he put in his 2 cents. So I want to hear what you guys have to say, though. This is the last request for the evening. Let's see it. You guys know the rules of engagement.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go. And don't do anything cooler than my suggestion. Any pony with a Nebelwerfer. I remember those from my days of playing Panzerblitz.
Yes.
The Nebelwerfer and the Wirbelwind.
Okay, that's kind of an interesting one.
Cheerily at a shooting range.
Nurse Red.
Yay, Pramo! We love you. The Tangler critter and arrow thing.
Now, Coldheart has a good, interesting one there, possibly.
Manic cadence in her love note. Spitfire as a Spitfire. Zakora as Zatanna, Zebrana. Mm-hmm. Shiny armor in actual Gothic armor. You've done that.
Yes.
Yeah. Human Pinky dressed as Officer Jenny for some anime.
Oh, that's from Pokemon.
Yeah. Invincible Iron Stallion, Rocket Raccoon as Toothless the Dragon, Rarity as Elvira. Whoo! Hey, Mr. McClaw again. Scootaloo with a Panzerfaust. Sphinx in the Cone of Shame. Somebody did that once, I think.
Yeah, but it was very amusing.
Yeah.
Rarity visiting the heavenly body.
Yeah.
You keep that clean for work.
Rainbow Dash as a beatnik.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy-o.
Yes.
Nick Wilde at a Royal Masquerade Ball. Mm-hmm. Bettina DeMask controlling Skybrush Ratatouille style.
Yes.
Yeah, riding on your... Or like Spo from House Pets.
Yes.
Yeah, let's see. My October Patreon request. Okay. Very good. Rainbow Dash with a Bugatti Chiron.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Skydiving Pinkie Pie. Yeah. Don't do it, Picardo. Okay, yeah, we'll make sure that. Okay. Rarity and Opalicious as Blofeld.
I have to admit, for some reason, the idea of Nurse Redheart doing Mercy
from
Overwatch.
I
I haven't drawn the character, but I think I can find reference. There might just be some reference for Mercy out there on the on Google. Gee,
1 or 2, yeah.
I didn't pull anything important out today.
1, 2, 3. No, you're fine.
Okay, good. Alrighty. Let's just go ahead. That might be kind of a fun one.
I lose.
Oh, I may just do yours just for the heck of it because it does sound interesting.
Baron has a character in his Ander universe called
Abdul.
Abdul, he's a fennec. He's an acrobat. He's one of those, wide-eyed innocents that say that, the world cannot, again, very, very Pollyanna-esque. He is married to
Eve Nara.
Eve Nara, a partial demon, half demon, if I remember.
No. Eve Nara is the actual princess to the Roman.
Okay, so but she's a mundane.
Yes, she is.
Okay, yeah. So who's about twice his height.
Yes.
He is a dancer and acrobat. Skinny little thing, 36 inches tall, type of thing. And again, with a very Pinkie Pie-like attitude, my idea was him bouncing on a beach ball, which was balanced on Pinkie Pie's butt, because the two of them would just would just see totally eye to eye on that.
Mm-hmm. It's still a cool idea. So like I say, I may actually take that and run with that.
Tempest Shadow is a witch, and is Redheart doing anything? Yeah, okay. Baron have mercy? Okay, right. Let's see. Mercy Heart. Yeah.
Right,
well, mercy sounds good. Anthro, we assume.
Yes, this will be Anthro.
Yeah, the big. I'm confusing it with Tracer.
Yeah.
I haven't played Overwatch yet myself.
Mm-hmm. Because I think I can work with the colorations and everything. Make this all come together very, very nicely. There we go. Punk.
Yeah.
Put those into photos. Oh, it's so nice to be able to do this. I wish I could have done this back when I was in college. Oh. Have these tools at our disposal. Okay. Alrighty. I got what I need. We're going live. And we're changing glasses. Ha ha. You guys don't get to nag me. Of course, it helps to take the first pair of glasses off before you put the second pair of glasses on.
Too much sugar in your lemonade?
All right, there we go. All right. So.
Tried to pull up an Abdul piece, but could not find one on DeviantArt.
Yeah, that's right. I need to get around to posting some more.
Yeah.
I started working on some writing up of Ander because I need to give a little more explanation to people what the heck is going on.
Yeah. Now, Abdul was one of your main characters back in the day when when the darling of the furry world was Chester Ringtail from Terry Smith. So, that type of character, the not particularly masculine, male protagonist, a little bit.
Well, he was, like I say, he's an adorable character. He's just, doesn't, Fennecs in general just simply accept the world as it is, and they don't get really bent out of shape out of things, and they don't have a huge amount of demands that they make on the world.
Well, Toph, that is because you are a right-thinking, correct, correct and sensible individual.
Yes. Celestia is best princess.
Yep. Graylin, is he doing the Halloween skin for Mercy? Probably not, because neither of us play Overwatch.
Yeah. In this case, it's just going to be the general.
Yeah. Okay, you two, you be nice. We can all agree that Celestia is best princess, and we can leave it at that. Except for you lunatics.
Well, that gets to be kind of interesting in my dreamscape, because you've got, Applejack, who is kind of, Elements of Harmony, works for Celestia, is an agent of the Crown. And then you got Apple Bloom, who is in Luna's court, and you are starting to get around the breakfast table and the dinner table occasionally. My boss is better than your boss.
Oh, poor Ander. Poor Ander. He's so delusioned. Yeah. Yeah. So Time Lord has been DMing recently. Don't be I got to get off my ass and deliver on my promise to deliver a D&D 5th edition game, but it says he's been, and his players go against a beholder in the middle of an Athilid colony, the Mind Flayers. Yeah, that is a combination that you will frequently see. They did that also in like Baldur's Gate 2 there, and it is a nasty combination.
Yep.
Athilids are basically Cthulhuids that eat your brains, and of course the beholders have this floating ball with a giant eye and a giant mouth and a whole bunch of eyes on stalks, and they have death rays that come out of the eyes. They're really hard to take on, just because they have so many attacks per round.
Yep.
And again, that main eye casts Disintegrate. That's not a good one.
Nope.
And there's another eye that casts Anti-Magic Ray. That's a nasty combination. Yeah. Hey, Toxic. How's it going?
How?
Why did no one zombie pwn? I say because Rainbow Dash stole that particular thunder.
Yeah.
3 eye stalks per round with the main eye casting a constant anti-magic cone in 5th edition. Yeah, they've nerfed beholders a little bit.
That's still
Well,
pretty...
they had to. Yeah.
Yeah.
The beholders, particularly the big ones. I think they're called eye tyrants. Some of the nastiest things you could fight. You had to have your act together as a party if you were even going to survive. Yeah. I'll give you this, Bubbly. That Cadence has the best 3/4 view on her head shape. But she's too perfect as a princess. No character flaws. Boring. So.
I kind of, I can't remember the fanfic author who did an awful lot of coffee in Equestria. I liked how that author handled Cadence. Very, very amusing.
I call Princess Cadence. Of course, Cadence is either Love Butt or Princess Tiny Hiney.
Yes.
Well, she has the smallest butt of all the ponies, with the possible exception of Luna.
Yeah, I imagine it might have been C-section when it was time for Flurry Heart too.
Well, no, she just stored it in hammer space.
Yeah. It was like, ow, ow.
Did I ever tell you how difficult your birth was?
Yeah.
Yeah. So apparently at Toxic Work, the topic came up. What's the those of us that go to carnivals? What carnival game, midway game, are you best at? That for me, it's the game where you roll the bowling ball, and you have to get it in the little valley. I took Marriott's Great America back when they were Marriott's Great America for so many cheap ass stuffed toys back in the day. Because I could do it every time. Toxic like those coin pusher games. Those are actually used as gambling games in Las Vegas, with quarters. I would have to go back and see it again, Nazumi. Yeah, Graylin, the term is Mary Sue. Yeah, refuse to play those carny games. They seemed rigged. Well, again, you can win them, but they're there to make money. They're there to make money, and they don't do that by giving away, prizes that cost them $15 to people who paid $1 to play the game one time in 10. Yeah. So again, it's like playing roulette or blackjack or craps or anything like that. The house always wins. It's set up that way. I say, can you win in them? Once in a great while, but by the time you're done, you'll have spent $500 on a $20 toy. So yeah, that's nice odds. Wouldn't Princess Cadence just teleport the full out? Well, that would certainly make it easier, wouldn't?
Yes.
Yeah. We won't even bother with the traditional royal farewell.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Probably no. That's not skee ball. Skee ball is, it says one where you roll it and it goes up the little ramp and then it goes into concentric circles. There's a game where you roll a bowling ball on tracks and it has a little hump. That the idea is that you push it just hard enough to get over the first hump, but not so hard that it goes up the back ramp and then comes back out and back to you. What casino game do I most rock at? Sportsbook.
Sportsbook?
The sportsbook.
Ah.
Yeah. And I do okay at low stakes poker when I'm not going against poker players that are too strong. But sportsbook, horse racing. Mm-hmm. I grew up on a pony ranch. We had Welsh ponies, 4 of them. 3 very nice mares and 1 stallion who was a real jerk. But I know when a horse is ready to run. And I just look for long odds on on a horse that looks to me ready to run, bet to place or show, second or better, first, third or better, and it's pretty reliable. I will come away with more money than I go in with, because they have the little parade, before of the horses before the race, and I just look for a horse that looks to me like it's ready to run, but that nobody else thinks is, So, and I've got a pretty good record.
This is actually a fairly complicated outfit. We got quite a few variables here we need to...
Yeah, maybe C-section, equestrian sense, or cadence section.
I like that.
Yeah. Texas Hold'em player. Do you play for money? We used to have poker nights every few weeks. And again, I still once in a while we'll go down to a card room and with a couple $100 and then lose it. But yeah, if I stick to the low stakes tables, the $2, $4, or the $3, $6 tables, particularly again, you don't go against strong players. Strong players are at the $100 tables. If you don't know who is the sucker at a table, it's you. Yeah, it's me. So I stick to my level there, and I do okay. I have an old man story.
Really?
Yeah. Toxic says get a bunch of bronies together and do a world pony of poker. Yeah. Tinkerbell ponies are breezy. Yeah. Well, Tinkerbell was always drawn with her butt in the air because Walt Disney, he was a butt man. He really, really was. That was his perfect little girl. The old man story. I was over at Garden City Casino. It's a now defunct card room. In California, card rooms are allowed. They only play certain games, etc. And I was at a $2, $4 table. And meaning that the first the first 2 rounds of bets were in increments of $2, and the small blind is $2 and the big blind is $4, etc. I was doing okay, but there was this one guy that was sitting just to my right, old man. You do indeed, Pharaoh Anime. Pharaoh, are you new here? If so, welcome back.
Yeah.
If not, if so, welcome. If not, then welcome back. Yeah. This guy was ancient. And he had the accent, the one that comes straight out of the, you think you got problems. And he was just sort of muttering to himself, but he had a stack of chips in front of him and it kept growing. He's just making little comments. I don't know if I do that. That was a good thing. And then there came a moment in the evening when two little light bulbs went on over my head at the same time. One was he was trying to give me advice. He had been watching my play and was sneaking in just little, that didn't, The other thing was I noticed something. He had long sleeves on, but he had sort of pulled back, the sleeves a little bit. And I noticed on the inside of his right forearm, you could just see the beginnings of a tattoo.
A number?
a number.
Oh boy.
The guy was an Auschwitz survivor,
Yeah.
or one of the camps. I started paying attention to what the hell he had to say, because here was somebody that had more wisdom about the human race, and than just about anyone you could ever meet.
I bet you.
I listened to him.
I bet you that I know who that was.
That was probably Frank Gustorf.
Because
he used to play cards. He was actually not bad at the thing, and he used to go to the schools down Los Gatos and everything and talk to the kids about, no, this isn't conspiracy theory, and it's not. This is real. That might have been Frank. I don't think he lives with us anymore.
Maybe. Yeah, this was some time ago. This was back around 2000. But yeah, again, they said this guy had escaped the camps and was very subtly trying to give me hints. And this young kid, he thinks he knows poker. And
but he had that kind of accent.
Yeah, and so I started paying attention to what he was trying to communicate to me about my play style. So we were there for another 2-3 hours, and my stack of chips started getting bigger instead of smaller. So it's like, ooh, there was a quick life lesson. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a fan-run MLP MMO, Legends of Equestria, I think. Yeah, and it's not on all the time. Yeah, or at least it never used to be. I don't know if it is on all the time now. Maybe one of you guys can correct me. Oh, by the way, I am reminded that I need to do we have a duty. So we're going to take a couple seconds here, and I'm going to say our commercial here, because Baron has a sponsor.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
we're very happy to have them.
And every hour we say to them, thank you to University Art, which is a high-end art supply store and framing shop that Baron used to work for 20 years. And they have agreed to sponsor Baron, keeping him full of art supplies, etc. And University Art is, again, it's an art and framing store with branches in Sacramento, California, and Redwood City, California, and San Jose, California. They have seminars, workshops, craft fairs, all the type of instruction you could want. Their employees are all artists, so they know what the heck they're talking about. And again, they do some museum quality framing. They have framed some of the most famous, artists in the world. Albert Dürer, one of the originators of the modern of the Renaissance movement. Picasso, an original Rembrandt. Again, if you want some serious framing done, those are your people. They also loan us their employees once in a while to come on our show and give demonstrations. So it's great. Yeah. So we want to say thank you to them. Sometimes their managers will lurk and watch the channel. See how their wayward son is doing. Hi Mike, hi Jeff. So thank you to them. You guys rock.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're enjoying this, Grand Moff. I mean, this is just part of what I do for a living. I gotta learn how to be able to get things out and quick So there's a certain amount of just being able to look at what's there and then adapting it to the. I'm not trying to do it perfect because I'm adapting it to a different character, but I'm trying to get enough of the visual cues that someone can look at this and go, oh, okay, I know who this character's supposed to be. You've done this, you've changed that, but yeah, this is Mercy.
Can you do us a favor and make them spread out to Texas? Yeah. From my understanding, they've got their hands full with the 3 stores. Yeah.
And apparently it's kind of, if Mike's in the chat, pop in, Mike, and correct me on this, but I get the impression that there's supposed to be a new web store that they were working on. At the moment, it's kind of a little bit stalled. They want to get going. They want to get proper web presence so people can just go to the website and buy stuff. It just hasn't quite happened yet. And if you're a brick and mom, it's a family-owned business. And if you're a small mom and pop, if you don't have a lot of connections into that, it's pretty daunting. Especially in these days when you want to make sure you keep your security. You want to make sure your customers' information stays
Yeah,
put.
it matters. Yeah, it matters. I'm in the information security business myself, and just some of the practices I see people doing is like, oh my God, you're going to be the next one that's going to show up on the cover of Business Week as, hacked, customer, 7 million customer credit cards lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a sale.
Is that?
Yeah, it's over here. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. We talk after stream. Things get resolved.
Yeah. Now, the character is say that he's drawing is a bona fide version of Mercy, which is the healer in the online shoot 'em up game Overwatch. Mm-hmm. You got like 10 or 15 different characters you can play, and Mercy is the healer. And of course, nobody wants to play, to play the healer in games like that because it's boring and you get blamed when other people, screw up. Well, you should have healed me. Like, you jumped into the acid pit. You jumped right in front of the machine gun and said, "Neener, neener, neener." I can't heal that.
I have no cure for stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Can't cure stupid.
And what I'm doing is Nurse Redheart.
Yeah, Red Heart as Mercy, and again, it's a very popular Team Fortress, style game that Blizzard put out recently. And anytime Blizzard puts out something in a genre, you'd better watch out because they're going to do it right. And like I said, it's great characters. Everybody loves Tracer. Yeah. Tracer as Rainbow Dash. The two just so totally meld. So
now we need to start bringing in some Red Heart elements. This is more.
Yeah, Grand Moff. That's a tendency. And I used to play healers in World of Warcraft. I don't play them anymore. I was actually one of the best healers. I'm going to just outright say it. I was one of the best healers during Wrath of the Lich King because I had it figured out. I played a druid who instead of stacking spell power like everybody did, I stacked spirit, which let me recover mana very quickly. I never, ever ran out of mana, and I could keep heal over times on all of the members of of my group. Let Wild Bloom go off after 3 stacks, and keep hitting the main tank with nuke heals, and I never ever ran out of mana. By the time I got down to 10%, hey, Innervate's back up. But later on, oh my God, healers everybody started blaming the healer for every time they would do something. Say that these DPS guys would do something stupid, and it's like they're not fun to play anymore. Mm-hmm. Death Battle actually had Team Fortress 2 versus Overwatch Tracer versus Scout. I bet the Scout got his ass kicked. Tracer is the face of Overwatch, and she is adorable. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, just like you should tip your waitresses, you should thank your healers.
Yes.
Yes, you should. Particularly when they are Tauren Druid healers, named Nanshi. That's a rule. Everybody loved my Mukau. But, I should make you draw Nanshi someday.
EP when your month's Patreon rewards.
Yep. Yeah, I'm right at that cusp. I've stacked up 3 Patreon rewards, and in a couple of days it's going to go to 4. That's right on the cusp of converting to color. So you got to decide.
Let's see here. Okay, 9 o'clock. I still got half an hour to work. Okay, I'm doing good on this.
You got plenty of time.
All right. Well, this is an outfit that's got quite a few little design elements. Now I'm still trying to decide how exactly I'm going to modify that staff. So I'm going to hold off on working on that moment until I have a better idea.
And Toxic says, so Baron, Care, and Stream, do you guys ever remember the worst teacher you guys ever had in class? Give us a story what made them so hard or tricky, because I got a hydrology class right now, 6 years away from my last classes ever, and damn, he's hard. Well, I will point this out, Toxic. Why is this class so hard? Go to the gym. Why are these weights so heavy? Some classes are filter classes. In other words, they are there to, separate the people who are going to make it from those that aren't, and the ones that aren't, it's like they need to know it sooner rather than later so they can do something else. The other one thing is that they're teaching you more than, that it may be that the teacher is teaching you more than hydrology. Maybe teaching you the life lesson of you're sometimes going to be given impossible tasks by management and you're just going to have to do the best you can. Kobayashi Maru, build some character and build some social and work skill and patience muscles. How do you deal with, irrational demands from people that you can't refuse? But I don't know that your professor is that kind of guy. He may just be a dick.
Yeah, I have to say, I've had, the hardest teacher I had was Mr. Rubicek at Art Center College of Design.
Hey, monkey.
But he was, hey! Monkey Chimp made it?
Monkey the Chimp.
Hey,
Yep,
cool.
Very briefly. Yeah. Hello.
Right there, coolness. Yeah, now, Mr. Rubicek was just driving and pushed us to, get our maximum capability out of us. As far as worst teacher is, I'm not going to name names, but I had my second semester 2D design class. I had a teacher who wanted us to get a particular style of brush, and we were looking around, couldn't find any of the stores in the area that carried it. And what really came out, we found out later, was that he had a friend who owned an art store over in Berkeley and wanted us all to drive all the way across the bay to his friend's store to buy art materials from her. But what I was able to determine is that basically he was looking for a brush that had certain properties to it. So I went to University Art, where I was working there, and bought the long-handled version of the brushes, but the bristles were identical. Same color to them and everything, just shorter and longer handles. And I took them to class, and I showed them to him, and I said, you're looking for bristles, this type of property, the brushes. Yeah, the bristles are fine, but you need to have short handles. You're going to have to take these back and go get, the right length. So it's just the handle length, right, Teach? Yeah, handle's too long. Okay, fine. So on my break, I went over to the 3D design class and basically strapped all my brushes down into one bundle and then ran to the table saw, cut my handles short, then went over to the belt sander and sanded them all down nice and round, and then I even dipped them in some white paint so they even looked like the end of the Winsor Newton University lines, and came back to class and said, here you go, now this is what you want. You want these bristles, and you wanted a shorter handle so we could use these at a table. And he got so unhappy with me because what it came down to was he was trying to do is make all the students have to go and buy stuff from his friend's art store. Not that really this was, and I had basically circumvented that whole process, and you could see people's eyes lighting up saying, hey, I can take these brushes over, and I didn't do well in that class. Anything he could write me down for, or you didn't follow the instructions correctly, and only through the skin of my chin did I actually succeed in pulling off a C in that class.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that you could have made an issue of it if you wanted to. On the other hand, then you get to be known as that guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, once in a while you will run into people like that, and then you have to decide, is this the battle that I want to spend my karma points on?
And I decided it was not the point to do it. And I just retook the class from a different instructor the next semester. I just took it over again and aced it. And the guy was going, why are you here? And I explained, oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah. He was also retiring in a couple of years. And so he was very much, I'm already in coasting mode.
Yeah. Now, for me, it was Mr. Chandler at Delta College. He was the head of the business department. Back then, they did not have a computer science department. It bounced back and forth between mathematics department and business department, and it was sort of a political football. And Chandler, granted this was community college, but he still thought this was high school, and that we, the students, had to be in some kind of submissive, obedient relationship to him, or or he would be blah 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 blah. He was hated, and so we made his life miserable. Probably not the best thing to do because, well, that nicely closes the circle. But we did, you know. We would do, you know, things to him like, you know, slip ketchup packets under the door of his office, and then you pull them back into the spot so that when he opens the door, it makes the ketchup packets burst. You know, smear his doorknob with, you know, petroleum jelly just to gross him out. You know, things like that. But yeah, he was a real jerk. I mean, he would call students brats to their faces. You know. Now, got to realize, I graduated high school when I was 16. I wanted the hell out. And that was a sore point with me, you know. And again, he called me brat to my face once, and it's just like, no, you didn't. You know, you will address me as Mr. Rund. You know, as I have never ever been impressed by titles. You know, I mean, I will stand up to CEOs. It hasn't cost me my job yet. Give it time. But yeah, one of these days I'll pick the wrong battle there. But yeah, he was just. You know, he was just a little tiny, you know, petty tyrant, and nobody liked him. The other teachers in his department hated him. The students hated him. Some folks that weren't in my social school were pranking him by you know, letting the air out of his tires and, you know, crap like that. But yeah, he was not popular. Second year that I was in Delta College, he wasn't in Delta College anymore. He got fired. So again, there is justice. It sometimes takes a while.
Yep. Yeah, that just ended up being the case. We just had to go, okay, fine. And in a couple of years, he retired. And the other thing, too, was that he was very much an artist. And I was in the illustration program. And
hey, Jarrell.
And everybody a lot of people in the fine art department figured that people in the commercial art illustration department were nothing but a bunch of cutthroat, soulless mercenaries, which was true to a certain extent because, you know, we're freelance, and if you look up what the term freelance comes from, it's mercenaries. You know, we are for hire.
I thought it was a term for what people think they could pay me.
Yeah. And so we locked horns on a couple occasions over, you know, what is good in life type questions.
To crush the grapes, to ferment them before you, and to hear the lamentation of their fermentation.
Yes. We would, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is. We'll say again, say McClaw. If that instructor's, you know, idea is that we are here to produce the best of the best, you know, and there can't be, you know, a class full of bests. You know, that's the thing is that needs to jibe with what the rest of the teachers are doing. You know, if you're in that kind of school that is a filter school and one, you know, for which, you know, it's survival of the fittest, and if you do survive, you are the best of the best. Okay, as long as you know what you're getting yourself into. It's when it's inconsistent. You get a touchy-feely teacher versus a, you know, British public school flogging type teacher. That's a terrible mix.
Yeah, and Art Center, they deliberately stated that they were going to treat us harder than we were going to get treated out in the world. Because they said that way you're going to develop a little bit of a defense because you're going to run into people. There's some folks out there who are just jerks.
Yep.
And you can't just...
Hey, Tomato Basket.
Hey.
That's a return from the old days.
Yes. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Now there's a, we don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Yeah. Ancient Pink Floyd.
Yep.
That song was actually banned in some places because it fomented revolution. You know.
Yep, I remember the first time we had one of our student prep rallies in high school, and they slipped that in and played it. When it was like, oh, some of the faculty were not keen on that.
Yep. Toxic, you troublemaker. Come in and asking these questions, make us all sad. Yeah. But hey, anything that brings up Pink Floyd is okay by me. Yeah, that whole album, The Wall. Well, by the way, if you haven't seen it, go see the movie. You know, rent or watch the movie Pink Floyd, The Wall. By modern standards, it's low budget, etc., etc. It's very, very powerful. It's basically a 90-minute music video of the entire album, which is a concept rock opera that follows a popular singer who dives down into drug addiction and then gets manipulated to become the spokesman for basically a white supremacist movement.
Mm-hmm. And the animation was actually done by Roger Waters.
Roger Waters and Ralph Steadman.
Oh, that was Ralph Steadman. Okay.
Ralph Steadman. Yeah.
Okay. The Marching Hammers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marching Hammers and the really weird, let's say, and grotesque, sexual imagery and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's basically an autobiography of Roger Waters. And how Hollywood and the music industry, well, not so much Hollywood because they're British, but basically ruin people's lives as long as they can get a profit out of young musicians. But yeah, very powerful movie. Do not watch the movie if you are chemically enhanced. There is enough grotesque, powerful imagery in that to give you bad trips and nightmares for weeks.
Yep. Yeah, that was a... Okay, so how are we going to handle this? Gotta get this laid in before I got 15 minutes. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? And I gotta fit on this piece of paper. Okay, I got an idea.
Okay. Probably the answer to that would be 10,000.
I'm making this up as I go along.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, actually, Toxic, I'm an astronomy nerd, and my favorite teacher of all time, Professor Loken, was one of the very few teachers in high school that I liked. And he was so sympathetic to my plight. I was in a jock run school, and I was a science nerd. Mm-hmm. He taught astronomy. Again, I showed up in class the first day. He just gave me this sour look and like, what? You're probably here to learn astronomy, aren't you? Well, yes. You got to realize this is the bonehead science course that the football team and swim team, swim team was state champions, go to meet their science requirements, and it's very demoralizing. And he said, here's every test I'm going to give you during the year. Okay. So I sat down and I took the test there. I was like, this is pretty easy stuff. And he graded them, and he said, you got 100% on every piece of material I'm going to teach. What am I going to do with you for the rest of the year? And so he made me his teacher's aide. Mm-hmm. He also went out and bought a telescope kit, one of those ones where you grind your own mirror and make your own, make your own equatorial mount and the whole bit, and you silver your own mirror with, and the whole bit there. And I made a 8-inch Newtonian f6 reflector and, made it to within 1/10 wavelength, grinding it by hand. Mm-hmm. And I was very proud of that. And, so that was fun. I got the instant A. And then I went down to San Joaquin Delta College, and evening courses, astronomy. Hey, they had a little planetarium, like a 40-foot diameter dome, not huge. Professor Robert Loken. Cool, same guy. He's making some extra money teaching in the evenings. Hey, Professor Loken. He goes, I'm going to be teaching the same material. You get an A. Now, what are we going to do with you for the rest of the semester? So he taught me how to run the planetarium. Mm-hmm. And I was the assistant, and they gave like half a dozen planetarium shows a semester. And this way, instead of him running the planetarium and doing the narrative at the same time, he, said I would run the show for him, and and he could get more in depth. Mm-hmm. So I got certificated. I could run a Zeiss Model 1 student planetarium.
Cool.
So the little optical peanut thing that spins around with the bright lights. It was great. So he was my favorite teacher. He and I understood each other.
Did you guys used to do like the laser shows with Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon and everything?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that was for California Academy of Science.
Because De Anza College used to do that, and I remember watching a couple of those really, really, really inebriated.
Yeah.
It was like that was it, that, and then we had a friend who lived over near, and walking over to the college, watching the thing, then walking back home, and then spending the rest of the evening just sitting around listening to Blue Oyster Cult albums.
There you go.
What a way to spend a Friday night.
Yeah, probably. I was certificated because I was getting an education.
Education.
Yeah. Now, yeah, Pharaoh. Baron is he's a full-time professional artist. This is how he makes his bread and butter and pays his rent. He put in 20 years working in an art supply store while doing art part-time. A couple of years ago, he decided, with the advent of Patreon, he said, okay, here's a way to take the plunge, step out over the edge of the cliff, and try and do this, live the dream as a full-time artist. And he's been doing it.
Yep. And without the Patreon has been so amazing in helping me, and I really do want to thank all of my patrons. And if you're new here tonight and you're enjoying this, there's a link actually on our Picardo page here that goes to it. I'd ask you to maybe consider that. I mean, you can do as little as $1 a month, just 3 1/3 cents a day, and it really does have an effect.
See you later, MC.
Glad you could join us. Going to buy lunch now. But yeah, the Patreon is a huge thing. It helps artists a lot. Or if you can't do that, you'll also see a thing down there for stream tip. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing tonight, throw $1 or $2 in the jar. Once again, it does make a difference. But yeah, this is what I do for a living. I wake up in the morning, I get out of bed, I get dressed, I go down the hall, I check my email, and I get to work doing art for people.
Yep, 8 hours a day with a pencil in your hand.
Or computer styles a little bit more and more all the time, getting better and better at that.
Yeah. Yeah, so Toxic says, we were one of the students that worked best on schoolwork and music. I didn't do work on schoolwork, which was kind of a problem. Again, it was a high school. Basically, I could get an A by showing up, with osmosis. It was not challenging. That's not a brag, or anything like that. It was that bad. Went off to community college. It was a little bit more difficult, but again, more or less, learned through osmosis. Then I went off to Chico State, and take the again, junior, senior year type of stuff, and I did not do well because I had never had to develop study skills. I had no idea how to study. Kind of a problem. I'm not going to say my GPA, my grade point average for my first semester, but let's just say that the first digit was a 0. Yeah, I was not used to that. I was used to 3.8, 3.9, 4.0. God, what a slap in the face that was.
Well, it's kind of like me when I went to Art Center. Before that, in high school, I was kind of like, he's kind of strange. He's doing some odd stuff, but he's obviously one of the best artists on campus, and everyone was kind of like, ooh, that's Baron's work. Then I showed up at Art Center, and here were kids already doing commercial work who already had agents and already had professional creds and large names, like big magazine covers. So it's like, oh, Christ, I am the smallest, lowest guy on the totem pole here.
Yeah, because Silicon Valley is that way. You can be 99th percentile anywhere else. You come to Silicon Valley, you're 50th percentile at best. Yeah, and that can be a very humbling experience for somebody who's never been anywhere except on the top.
Yeah.
God. But anyway, yeah, that's not what Toxic was asking. He says, when you have, do you work best when you have music going or working on homework? It has to be instrumental music, because if it's vocal, it distracts me.
When I'm working on for instrumental music, for homework, I used to listen to the radio when I was a kid. When I'm working on projects in the studio, it'll depend on what I'm working on. If it's certain projects, it has to be instrumental, sometimes classical. Actually become quite a fan of classical music in the last few years, and I can thank MLP for that because I liked the character Octavia. And when I started having dreams in my dreamscape, because it's more of a 19th century setting, I've gotten more of a taste for classical music, as we would call it today.
Generic. It wasn't. I did not hate that laundry sofa. I just wanted to put it out of its misery. That was the sofa that got burned in the so-called poor excuse for a quote riot. It's like it was nasty. Let's just say it was nasty, and we'll leave it at that. So Bubbly would like to know. We'll get back to your question in a minute, Toxic. And the answer for me is Electric Light Orchestra. Bubbly wants to know: do you think that college really is necessary for artists nowadays? Yeah, and Bubbly's went to college and is not getting any. Doesn't think she got much out of it.
Yeah, it really does seem to depend on where you're going and everything. I don't, because I mean it's hard to be a teacher, and I don't mean to razz on a lot of folks who have to do it to collect their paycheck, but it really does feel like a lot of the foundation stuff that I learned, which is good for traditional or digital, doesn't matter what you're working in. This is all just nuts and bolts stuff. Has really gotten watered down. And when I was working at UA, the number of people who came in who I would start explaining stuff to them, they're going, I've been going to San Jose State for 3 years and no one has explained this. And in 15 minutes, you've explained to me more than I've learned with spending $35,000 or more on my education. And it's feeling like, why am I there? Unfortunately, there are still some jobs and everything where they look at that piece of paper. And that piece of paper, if you don't have it, it can be very, very tricky to get into those types of jobs. And one of the things that will, at least going to a college and making it through, will tell somebody is that you have a certain amount of stick-to-itiveness. Because if you go to a 4-year school and you're there for 4 years, within a 4-year time period, the odds are there's going to be some kind of crisis or...
Yeah, it teaches you life lessons that are not on the curriculum but are part of the curriculum.
But you had enough stick-to-itiveness to stay there and finish it. You could power through this. You could pick yourself up off the ground. You could push for it. Like Karen talked about. You suddenly find out, oh wait, my study habits are really, really bad. What do I do when I'm no longer top dog? Do I just simply put my tail between my legs and wander off whining, or do I hunker down, double down, and really rise to the challenge? And so, I went to a school that was very, very different than most art schools because it was very oriented towards the commercial production, and we were taught you are working on a budget, you're working on a timeline. There are other people downstream that need you to have this done by this period so they can get their stuff of it done. And if we don't get this done, then it's not ready for this big trade show or this movie release or this ad campaign for the holidays. And so there's real consequences for not delivering.
All right, we'll see you later, Pharaoh. We do this every 2 weeks, once every 2 weeks on Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Start like clockwork, so we hope we see you in exactly 2 weeks.
Well, there's a wrong way to art.
Has anyone ever asked for your education history? They've asked if I have a degree, but that's as far as it goes. The thing about colleges, with elite colleges, you will sometimes get offered jobs by, oh, I was a Harvard guy, this guy's a Harvard guy, we look out for each other, the old boy network. The others is like, just did you finish it at all? You'll find that if you're going for contacts, join a frat or a sorority because they will favor each other. They shouldn't, but they do. But again, as a college, the other thing is you prove that you can finish a project that takes at least 4 years. In the face of adversity and stupid, unreasonable people with authority, which is an important trait. That being said, I'm a hiring manager. And when I look at resumes, I don't really even look at education, mostly because, again, I'm in the computer science field there. I've seen people with master's degrees in computer science that could not write the simplest, print hello world on the screen when asked to. All they did was took theoretical stuff, and they managed to dodge anything that involved, actual hands-on programming. So, I mean, I've seen people with master's degrees in it that in computer science that can barely operate one. So, I just look at past experience. Your degree gets you your first job, but your first job gets you your second. That and oh my God, build up your LinkedIn. That is so important. But that's just for computer science stuff.
Yeah. To a certain extent, a lot of things in the arts, if you're in the fine arts, it might not be as critical, but it sure doesn't hurt sometimes on getting things like grants and galleries, because if you've gone to some school, they can say, oh, hey, he's a graduate of blah, blah, blah. And once again, there is this networking that happens.
You got 5 minutes, by the way.
Yep. And my commercial art, actually, well, I got 3 minutes. This one here.
Well, we can go a little bit late if you want.
Well,
not too late because we have food waiting for us.
Oh, yeah, no, trust me, I know about the food. I just want to get to a certain point here, and I can finish. I'll finish topping this off tomorrow. I'll put some last little bit of details in. I mean, I'm kind of happy I got this much in an hour.
Yeah. But yeah, actually, Bubbly has something. Maybe we'll ask you to take this up on the next show. That they never taught how to schedule your work, how to be in the business of being an artist. You know, the legal and business issues, the personal discipline issues, all of the stuff that isn't art directly, but teaches you how to have a job and get a job in art. How do you market yourself?
Okay.
How do you set your prices? How do you build a portfolio?
I can start. If people would be interested in that, they wouldn't be bored to death about that. I can start making that part of my. I don't want to make one entire stream that, because that would be kind of boring. But I can make that a regular segment. Talk to you guys about this is what I have to do.
Good night, Mad Badger.
This is what I do. And you say, well, where's your price list? Why don't I have a price list? Well, there's a reason for that. I can go into some depth about why I don't do price lists for commissions, because
every commission's different.
Every commission's unique, and I've been burned.
Yep. I thought this was going to take 4 hours. It took 40.
Right. And
but I quoted for 4, so.
Right. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that have to go into it. So it's only a single figure. Okay, great. It'll be $40. Uh-oh. And you find out, it's more than that. So next time I'm on Bubbly, if you want to tune in, I'll start giving some little tidbits of information about that. I can add that as part of my general art instruction. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe do that as an instructional video as a standalone on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, it's possible. Definitely possible. Well, at 9:29, I'm going to flip cameras here.
Yeah. And so Toxic, food tonight is
delicious.
Steak and mushroom pies. Brussels sprouts with pork belly, which is the cut of meat that bacon comes from. So basically slabby bacon. And some German word that's a kind of potatoes au gratin, but not really.
No, sounds tasty.
Yeah. So we, I cook, Baron cooks, one of my roommates, Brian, cooks, and is really good. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's a thing for Deathlight Production. That would be a good thing to know. This is important information. It's not supposed to be important and not infinite information.
Oh, Mr. Freud, is that cigar just a cigar?
So,
the worst pies in London.
So I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I want to take, basically it is. It's kind of,
and pumpkin bread for dessert.
Yeah, pumpkin bread. Yeah, it's kind of a traditional. Close over. Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah. DeviantArt.
Yeah.
DeviantArt,
or we'll do it through messaging on Twitter. That's one thing, guys. If you're not following me on Twitter,
follow them on Twitter.
I have a thing I do almost a couple times a week called Baron's Art Tips, where I put up information, kind of does expansion on some of this stuff. And I'm going to be doing more expanded versions of Baron's Art Tips on my Patreon. So once again, if you want to get something a little bit more than 140 characters on how I go about creating art, check me out on Patreon. And I hope you guys all have a great Halloween.
Oh, toxic.
So have a great Halloween, and we will see you guys all in 2 weeks. Unless I find out that ends up being the overlap weekend for EcoLA, then I might do it next Saturday. Yeah. Well, once again, if you follow me on DeviantArt,
you'll know.
You'll follow me on Twitter, you're gonna know. So, see you guys all. You have a great evening. Good night.
Amazon.com, Toxic.